I solemnly swear that I am up to no good.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 43 of the Tales from Godric's Hollow podcast, the number one Harry Potter podcast for giant squids and lovers of such animals. I am one of your co-hosts. I am the muggle of the show. I am Josh Brown. I am joined, as always, by the professor himself, the madman of the dance floor, Professor Matt Sonnenberg. Hi, Matt.
Hi, Josh.
Are you cutting a rug over there in Wisconsin these days?
Not at all.
No?
We're cleaning the rugs.
Well, it's close. It's close.
Oh, okay.
Are
Not
you
quite the
cleaning it
same.
because you had a wild dance party on them?
No, not at all.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Good. We have a fun show tonight, as always. This is episode 43. We're going to be covering chapters 22 and 23 of Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. We have a lot of things to get to, Matt. We have a whole bunch of reading to cover. I'm just going to throw this out here right now, just to warn people in advance, okay? The last several weeks of reading have been phenomenal. This week, however, I wasn't super impressed with things going on. There was a lot of character building. There was some character arcs developing, but we missed like the action and the intensity and the excitement, and this was just a lot of teenage drama, and it was almost too much.
Yeah, I do understand that. It's like you said, past couple weeks kept getting better and better, and they're more action filled, and you kept telling me these are the best two, and then next week, no, these are the best two. I'm like, yeah, you can't just keep going up the entire time.
Yeah.
So somewhere in there, we're gonna have this break, and like you said last week, you were really surprised when we didn't have to wait to get into the first task.
Right.
You thought, oh, okay, the first task coming. We know it's going to be dragons, and now it's going to be 3 months before we get there.
Yeah.
But no, it was next week we're there. Okay. But yeah, now we have this 3-month break between tasks, and we are going to take some time out between tasks and
Sure.
follow Harry around the castle and see what goes on.
Which is fine. I know we have the Christmas chapters in
Yep.
every book. I was
It's true.
expecting that, but if it wasn't for an overexcited house elf and a very sad half giant, I almost would have forgotten that this book was about wizards and magical things.
Okay.
It was close. It was close. Like
Yeah.
it was just to that point where it's just like, this is just so real teenage nonsense that it's
Yep.
bringing me out of this magical world just a little bit.
I guess I never thought about it like that, but you're right. Yeah, there's very little. I guess the only thing would be when they're in class and the
Yeah.
classes that they're taking.
Right.
Because even in class, we don't hear a lot about what they're doing. It's just the teachers are assigning lots
Sure.
of homework, even though the end of term is coming.
And that was all at the beginning of the reading. Like once we got into like the next chapter, it was just a school dance. Like magic was gone, and
Yeah.
it's fine. I understand it. There was a lot. There was importance to the chapters. I'm not dismissing that at all. It's just a hard drop off from fighting dragons and fighting for the liberation of house elves to go into school dance drama.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah, I
a
understand.
hard right turn, and it's okay. We got through it. I feel like things are going to pick up after this. We just had to get through this week. So I'm just warning the folks out there now, Matt, that I'm not going to be Mr. Positivity about these chapters as I've been the last few weeks.
I understand.
Okay. Just a forewarning, that's all. Let's see here. Before we get into all that, though, a few things I want to cover.
Okay.
I like to keep up on all things Fantastic Beasts and where to find them.
Absolutely.
Some news, I think it broke last week before we recorded, and I don't know why I didn't bring it up. But Jude Law was cast as a young Dumbledore for the next movie.
Yes, he was.
Exceptional pick. Now, I don't know that much about Dumbledore, but I know Jude Law is a fantastic actor, and
Exactly.
that's going to be fun.
Yep.
Here's what I'm starting to get worried about, though, Matt. We're diving closer and closer into characters that I'm familiar with.
Yep.
And the closer we get to that, the more concerned I'm starting to get about spoilery stuff.
Yeah. To be perfectly honest, I didn't think we were going to be seeing Dumbledore this soon.
Yeah.
So, with
especially
that being
because
said,
it sounds like it's going to be a fairly decent role, not just like a quick cameo.
yeah, they're announcing him already.
Yeah.
It's like Jude Law is going to be in this movie. Not like the news when we got, shoot, I can't even think of his name. Johnny Depp.
Mm-hmm.
They showed like we found that out like the week before or something. The movie came out. It's like, oh, Johnny Depp is going to get a credit in this. It's like,
Yeah.
what? and we were all kind of confused. Like
Sure.
they kept it a secret, and it's like, oh, it's just one scene at the end.
Right.
Okay. But the fact that, they're announcing, hey, we have Jude Law as Dumbledore. He's a Dumbledore. Like, he's got to be a fairly major role in the movie already.
Yeah. I think
And-
most of the movie's going to take place in France. So, like, we're back in Europe, and I'm worried, Matt. I'm worried.
Yep. Yeah. I like the first movie. Yeah. I pre-screened it for you and gave you the green light,
Yeah.
but I really wasn't too worried about it.
Sure.
But now once you start introducing characters we know, in particular Dumbledore, like it could have some effect on what's, well, for us reading through the books the first time
Right.
years ago was a surprise.
Yeah.
Like if they cover some of the events that affect the future,
Mm-hmm.
it could be questionable.
Yeah. Where are those timelines going to sync up, and where are they going
Yep.
to come into play with where we're at in the reading by the time the movie comes out? It's a stressful thing.
Yeah.
They also talked about Newt Scamander's brother is going to be in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Is going to play a prominent role. I know he was mentioned in the movie. Then apparently he was also in the movie, but not like directly, like spoken to. Did you hear that?
Okay. I haven't heard that.
Maybe I
Like,
misread it, but I'm pretty sure I read it as like he was a person in the movie, but he wasn't addressed as such. Other than when he was
Wait,
mentioned when they were reading that letter.
Like, I don't know where he would have been, though, because we didn't have any, like, flashbacks from Newt or anything.
He was alongside Graves at one point.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, maybe. I could see
But
that,
he was
I
never
guess.
like pointed out like, oh, that's, you know.
Yeah,
his brother,
yeah,
whatever.
we had no idea who he was.
Yeah. Maybe that's all crazy fan theory. I don't know. I don't know what kind of stuff, you know, I read or why you could believe or anything like that. But so I'm excited, but I'm nervous. And, you know, we'll just have to play it by ear.
If nothing else, there's the positive side to the Fantastic Beasts movies being spaced out so much, is that gives us time to catch up.
Yeah. Well, we better speed this up a little bit, Matt. Let's bump it up to 2 episodes a week just to get there.
We'll see. We'll see.
No, I'm kidding. Everybody's like applauding right now, but no. So that's something I wanted to talk about because, you know, I have to keep up with these sort of things because it's the only thing I could cling on to with you.
It fills out the rest of your week.
Pretty much. It's the one thing that me and the rest of the Harry Potter fanatics out there can dive into simultaneously and learn about for the first time together. So
Yeah.
Speaking of Harry Potter fanatics, Outpost went out yesterday, Matt, for our Patreon supporters.
Awesome.
The only
That's good
reason
to hear.
I'm bringing this up is I would like to point out the fact that blood, sweat, and tears go into these letters that I'm writing, folks. And this month, more literally than ever, hot wax. I use hot wax to seal the letters. I have a nice little Hogwarts seal. And I use hot wax and stamp them all nicely, and it's a fun little thing. Hot wax is really hot, Matt. Really hot.
That's the idea.
Yeah, more hot than I thought it would be. I learned a lesson with hot wax, okay? When you get down to the end of a stick of hot wax, it's best not to try to hold it while it's melting when you could like barely get your fingers on it, because eventually you're just going to lose your grip and it's just going to sit in the spoon. But then you have this giant chunk of semi-melted wax in your pouring spoon. So then you need to get that out because you can't pour this giant half-melted piece of wax onto a letter. Some things happened. I'm not going to give you a blow-by-blow account. But let's just say a Starbucks straw was involved and a gas stove. And somehow wax got flung a little bit. And I have some really gnarly blisters on my fingers from this molten hot wax.
Wow.
Because once it hits skin, it just stays there and it keeps melting into your skin.
Yeah.
It's not pleasant, Matt. It's not pleasant. I don't know how people did wax seals so perfectly back in the day without ever getting injuries. Or maybe they did get injured.
I was going to say, I bet you they did.
My soft, delicate hands are not accustomed to wax sealing on a regular basis.
They just didn't have Twitter to tell us about it.
That's true. Or Starbucks straws to interfere with things. It was kind of a nightmare scenario, Matt, but nonetheless, I got them all done.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm sure our patrons will appreciate them.
I hope so. I just want everybody to know that when they're reading their letters, they're thinking about the injuries that I suffered through in order to get those out. So, just throwing that out there.
Well,
you're welcome.
While we're talking about Patreon, just take a second to once again thank our headmistress, Mel B.
Absolutely.
And anybody else out there who might want to get some Owl Post or just wants to help keep the show ad-free and full of giveaways, head over to patreon.com/Tales from Godric's Hollow.
Is Mel back from vacation or holiday?
She is.
Okay.
She is.
Do they call it holiday in Australia or vacation?
Well, I'm not sure what she was actually on. I think she was gone camping, so it could have been.
But you and I would call that vacation.
Yeah.
Right? But in Europe, it's called holiday.
Is any vacation just called holiday?
I think so.
Okay.
I don't think, like, when you go on a vacation, it's only called holiday if it's focused around a holiday. I think holiday is just the term they use in lieu of vacation. But I don't know how much European influence is in Australia.
Quite a bit from what I've seen, but we'll find out. Mel, let us know. Were you on vacation or on holiday?
Or are you vacationing because of a holiday?
There you go.
Really, really get it all mixed up. One last thing.
Yes.
I want to say thank you to somebody.
Okay.
I want to say thank you to our friend Colin.
Yes.
For one, today's his birthday.
Happy birthday, Colin.
That's right. Secondly, he texted me last week.
Okay.
And there's a podcast I listen to. It's a gaming podcast called Giant Bomb.
Okay.
He listens to it also. And he texted me frantically. He was like, have you listened to Giant Bomb yet? It releases every Tuesday. He texted me this Wednesday morning. And I said, nope. Actually, I've been behind on podcasts because when I was sick a little while ago, it got my entire podcast rotation messed up by a day. And that's just, it's bad news.
Yep.
And then I start deleting podcasts because I'm not going to have time to listen to them, and I get 2 or 3 behind, and it's a whole mess. So I hadn't got to Giant Bomb podcast yet. And he said, okay, do not listen to it.
Ooh.
Why is that, Colin? Giant, enormous Harry Potter spoilers.
Wow.
In a video game podcast. No reason.
Yeah.
No reason for them to be talking Harry Potter spoilers.
Probably
somehow
not.
they worked it into a conversation, Matt.
I'm telling you, it's everywhere. People love Harry Potter.
Yeah, but there is no safe haven for me anymore, Matt. Like, I need to be alert 24/7 at this
Yep.
point.
Yep, I understand. It's very unfortunate, but I applaud you, and once again, thank Colin
Yeah,
for watching out for you.
yeah. So then I said, is there just a section I could avoid? He goes, well, it's like 20 minutes into the podcast or so, but they start to touch on it back later in the episode, and I'm just, why would they go back to that? Why?
They just
Why?
tainted an entire episode for you.
They weren't talking anything Harry Potter as far as I know. There's no games about Harry Potter that they would be talking about. How this came up in conversation, no idea. But now I can't even trust the safe podcasts anymore. Like,
Sure.
the mention of Harry Potter, I'm just going to have to turn off whatever I'm listening to.
Pretty much.
My life is a mess, Matt.
We're
We
working
need
on
to get
fixing
through
that.
this series as quick as possible. The fact that we've got this far is pretty remarkable, but
It's true.
I feel like we're poking the bear a little bit here. Anyway, that's my rants and raves of the week, Matt.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Do you have anything to add before we get to the show?
Well, we should probably take care of our giveaway for this week.
Yeah, let's do that. That'll make me feel better about things.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, like I was saying, thanks to all our Patreon supporters, we have lots of giveaways, at least one every week. So this week, we had asked everybody to share your love for the podcast on social media, any social media platform of your choice, and take a screenshot of that and send it to us. And this week, we are playing for the Harry Potter Hogwarts Battle card game that
that's
they've
right.
made. I will admit I still haven't played it, but I've heard good things from multiple people over the past few months. So I trust them, and I hope whoever wins this will agree.
Yes. We also decided this is something I definitely can't participate in, right?
Correct. Yeah, you can't touch this.
So disappointing. I can't
I
do
know.
anything fun, Matt.
I know. We're getting you there.
All right. So we had people send in emails. Do we have some entrants here? How many numbers am I picking through here?
We do. I need you to give me a number between 1 and 7.
1 and 7, huh?
Yes.
Oh boy, what number is coming to me? What number? You know what? Someone's getting
What's that?
lucky. Lucky number 7, Matt.
Lucky number 7?
Yep, let's go number 7.
All right. Lucky number 7 belongs to Tanya Bridges.
Hey, congratulations, Tanya.
Yeah,
That's a
there we
cool
go.
card game to get, from what I hear. You'll have to tell me all about it in extensive detail, since I can't touch it myself.
Ooh, I think she's one of my locals here in Eau Claire.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Might be able to drop that one off personally.
Hey, look at that. Congratulations, regardless. You'll have to let us know, in all seriousness, when you play it, what you think of it. Give us a little review on it, so we could pass that on to our listeners that are interested as well.
Would love to hear about it.
Yes. Thank you to everybody that participated. Again, thank you for sharing love of this podcast out there to your friends and followers and family and such. It means a lot to us. Definitely helps us grow this show and, more importantly, grow this community. And we appreciate all of your efforts and help with that, for sure. Stick around for the end of the podcast, when we will have yet another giveaway.
Absolutely.
That's what we do. We have something fun to give away. I'm sure we'll have a fun method to pick a winner from.
As always.
Yes, I will swirl my my cup of tea around and see what the tea leaves produce and figure it out from there.
Sounds like a plan.
Speaking of tea leaves, Matt, it's time that we get into the reading this week.
All right. Chapter 22, The Unexpected Task. So there were 2 mentions of, I guess, new characters, you could say.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, none of them actually like go to Hogwarts. So it's kind of weird. The first one was Joey Jenkins, one of the Chudley Cannons Quidditch players.
Okay.
He's in the pros. He was in a book Harry was reading.
Sure.
He's watching him fly around as the pictures do. And the second mention then, they show up in the second chapter, actually, I think.
Yes.
But we get mentioned in this chapter of the Weird Sisters.
Right. Fascinating, intriguing, mysterious.
I'm sure we'll be talking about that.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
All right.
It's nice to have some new characters.
Yeah, it's been a little while.
Yeah. The Yule Ball.
Yes.
We knew this was going to happen from earlier in the book, correct?
Well,
We knew something was going to happen.
We knew something was going to
Okay.
happen. Yes. This is the first mention of the Yule Ball.
Right. But we knew that the kids were going to need fancy robes for some
Yes.
reason.
We
Okay.
knew they needed dress robes.
That's what I couldn't remember. Like, the
Yeah.
Yule Ball did not sound particularly familiar, but the whole process of, like, fancy robes and everything, I was like, we've talked about that at some point. I just don't remember when.
Yep, because Mrs. Weasley was packing them for Ron
That's right.
and Harry. And
all the kids.
so the interesting part, though, is I believe she also packs them for Ginny,
Mm-hmm.
which is interesting because once we get into the description of the Yule Ball, we find out it's for 4th years and up.
Right.
Like they can invite younger students if they want to bring them as a date or whatever.
Right.
But
So maybe
Ginny,
it was just a backup.
She had no way of knowing that she would go.
No.
So it seems weird that they.
Well, I mean,
it would seem odd for to require the younger kids to bring them to school and then not be able to use them.
I don't know if they were required as much as, like, maybe Mrs. Weasley was just like, well, if she gets asked, it would suck if she can't go because she doesn't have robes,
I suppose.
you know.
Wishful
Also,
thinking.
she's a 3rd year, right?
Yeah.
So she's not that much younger to where it's out of the realm of possibility that she would be asked by somebody a little bit older.
Sure.
If she was like a 1st year, it's like, yeah, you're probably not going. This is not going to happen, you know.
Yeah.
That would be kind of weird. But like a 3rd year, like, she's not too far behind. More of just like if it happens, you're ready for it.
Yeah, I suppose.
I hadn't even thought about that, though. That was fascinating. My question, though, is why Professor McGonagall insisted in thinking that Harry should know these, like, rules and standards and expectations for this ball that he's never heard of and should have no knowledge of up until now.
Well, I mean, it's a historical event, kind of like the Triwizard Tournament. It's happened before. I think she probably even mentioned that it's always a part of the Triwizard Tournament.
Sure.
And so anyone who's like Hermione probably knew about it. She probably read about it somewhere. So there's a chance. If I were Harry, once I got over the initial shock of being selected,
Yeah.
I'm doing all I can to figure out what this Triwizard Tournament is.
Sure.
Try to find out like what past champions, what did they have to do in the tournament?
Yeah.
What was part of the tournament? And so maybe you come across something. I guess you could say, yeah, he would have to do all that on his own.
Mhm.
So it's not like they were teaching him about the Triwizard Tournament in school or teaching him about the Yule Ball in school.
Right.
But somewhere along the line, you would think it would have come up.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't grow up in a wizarding family, so, like, he doesn't have, like, stories of the Triwizard Tournament.
He doesn't
to
have
fall
that
back
background, no.
on. But, like, if he was, like, doing his own research on, like, the Triwizard Tournament and, like, what to expect, like, even if there was mention of the Yule Ball, like, how far deep into that subsection of the information would you have to go to find, like, the traditions where it explicitly says that the champions need to have a partner and they have the very first dance of the Yule Ball? Like, that's something that you just know because you've heard of it and you're talking or have shared knowledge with somebody that's experienced this or whatnot. Like, that's not something that's just in a textbook, you know?
Sure, but okay, think about it this way. Harry does come from a Muggle world.
Right.
And I don't know about over in Britain what kind of dances they have. I kind of figured that the Yule Ball is kind of based around what they might have. But here in America, at least, we have things like homecoming or winter formal or whatever kind of dances you want.
Sure.
And these dances tend to have like a court. Like you have a homecoming court, right?
Yeah.
And who's ever elected to that court is required to bring a date.
Are they required?
I guess I've never really thought about it if they're actually required. I mean, they're always, you know, and so escorted by blah blah blah. And like that's how it always was in my school.
Yeah. I mean, it seemed like
that's how it worked.
Happened, but I don't know if there was like a strict requirement. Like it was like socially.
I think
expected.
You wouldn't want, if you're elected to the court, you wouldn't want to walk up there alone.
No.
And that's kind of.
But Harry doesn't want to be here in the first place.
You know? I understand, but he knows that once he got thrown into this, he's in it for good.
Yeah,
and so like he's doing his best to figure out how to survive.
Well, I mean, even in the Muggle world, I mean, so he started at Hogwarts when he was 11, right? No.
Yeah.
Yes, 11. So that means up until 10, or through 10, the age of 10, he was in public school theoretically. They're not having school dances at that age.
No, but
he didn't have older siblings to like know this from.
You go ask a 10-year-old if they know what prom is. I'm sure they do.
Maybe.
Harry
I would be curious to know like somebody with an older sibling that would know about a prom, or you know, if they were the oldest child at age 10, if they would know about the prom.
I mean, Harry didn't have a normal childhood, so he didn't get to like watch as much TV and stuff as other kids might. Because I think, I guess that's the more I think about it, that's probably where most younger kids would pick it up.
Sure,
like watching a movie or something that has
YouTube
a school dance
these days.
Well, sure. Whatever kids watch these days.
Yeah. YouTube, trust me.
So yeah, I guess you could argue that way too, that Harry just wouldn't have had the resources.
Yeah.
But I would argue time and again, because it's been used over and over in the series so far, Hermione knows everything. Hermione does the research and shares it with everybody else. So she, if nothing else, she should be prepping Harry for this.
Yes and no. Like, I don't know. I guess my thing is, it was weird for McGonagall to just expect Harry to know that he was expected to have a date so that they could perform the ceremonial first dance of the ball. Like, that's such an obscure thing to expect a dumb 14-year-old boy to just know, you know? Like, Cedric, like, yeah, Cedric's probably been around. Like, he knows the deal, right? All the champions, they know the deal. But Harry doesn't even want to be there. He's just now discovering what hormones are. Like, he's just now noticing girls. And, you know, he's not even thinking about, okay, I need to get a date. Like, we need to dance. Like, this is going to be a thing. He's not in that mindset yet. He's too dumb.
Well, just be glad that
giving him too much credit, is what I'm saying.
McGonagall brought it up. It's better she brought it up a week or two before the dance instead of like the day before.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm glad she brought it up. it was just written in a way to where she wasn't doing it as like a friendly reminder, like, hey, Harry, I need to tell you something about this that you probably don't understand. It's, how could you not know this? You should be knowing this right now.
So I think
maybe that's just McGonagall. Maybe it's just how I read her.
Well, no, in my mind, I think McGonagall, even though she's kind of been with Harry the whole time, like she was there when they dropped him off at the Dursleys, and she knows how bad the Dursleys are. Yeah. I don't know if she fully realizes just how bad Harry's life has been the entire time and how much he has been held back from him.
Yeah.
But like, I think maybe she assumes that he should know more than he actually does.
I feel like she knows.
I would think Dumbledore knows. I would say he would know, but McGonagall, I mean, I think she's just a few steps behind Dumbledore.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It rubbed me the wrong way. That's all. I was just like, why would Harry know this? This is so weird. Like, there's no way this dumb 14-year-old boy is gonna know this. Like, get off his back, McGonagall.
Yeah, I think like you said, it's kind of McGonagall's character.
Yeah,
it's that's how she is.
She's never let her hair down, Matt. Let's be real.
Exactly.
Okay. Next big thing.
Okay.
This is going to shock some people. So if you're driving, I need you to pull over the side of the road. If you're doing something with like heavy machinery, I need you to take a break here, or pause it, whatever the case is. But I need to say this, Matt. I don't want to say this, but I need to say this. Rita Skeeter and I are no longer okay.
So what finally changed your mind?
I can no longer defend this woman, Matt.
Okay.
She's not interested in magical creatures. Get out, Rita Skeeter. You're out of here. I'm sorry. I spent weeks and weeks defending you, Rita Skeeter. I wasted my time, Matt. Why didn't anybody tell me this? This would have solved everything for weeks on end. If someone was just like, you know what? She doesn't even care about magical creatures. I'm out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, if we had known that's all it would take, maybe
I
we
feel like you guys should know me by now to know that's all it would take.
Okay, there you go, folks. Logic doesn't work. Magical creatures do.
All these baloney stories that she's trying to write and frame Harry to be this horrible kid. It's all awful. She's an awful person, Matt. Just absolutely awful. God, goodness gracious. I'm glad to get over that. That was... Rita Skeeter. What a fraud.
Welcome to the club.
What a fraud, Matt. There's an interesting question that came from this, though.
Okay.
It was posed that Rita Skeeter was trying to dig up dirt on Harry to prove that he was a, quote, mad delinquent.
Yeah.
Is he kind of a mad delinquent, though? Like, that's not too far off from the truth.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at everything that's happened, like, you could easily frame him that way. But, like, that because we know Dumbledore is always cutting him slack.
Yeah.
McGonagall doesn't, like, she has always kind of, like we said it a couple times before, she will punish her own house. Mm-hmm. If it's deserved, but right. She doesn't want to.
Right.
But then you have the on the opposite side of Dumbledore, you have someone like Snape, mm-hmm. who is completely anti-Potter, and, you know, something goes wrong, Potter did it.
Yeah. And he's saved some lives. He's done some good things. Like, we can't take that away from him. He's kind of a little hero in training here. However... Yeah. He's still kind of a delinquent. He still gets in trouble. He still breaks the rules for the sake of breaking the rules. Like, curiosity and that kid do not go hand in hand to equal good things. You know?
There's a reason he's not in Ravenclaw or Hufflepuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I was thinking about that, and it was just like, you know, like, they're trying to turn the tide on Rita Skeeter, and like she's trying to get an interesting story, and then they're like, well, they want to, she's trying to frame him to be this mad delinquent. I'm like, well, is she just trying to tell the truth here? Like she knows that he's a troublemaker.
Well, no, I don't think she does. She wants to frame him that way. She's trying to find that story because she knows it'll be a good story if she can get anything to write about.
Right.
But
that's true.
I don't
If
think
she knew.
going into it. I don't think she necessarily knew everything he had done, all the trouble he had gotten into. That's the detail she wanted, so she could write about him.
Maybe she read that in her tea leaves. I don't know, but I was just like, that's kind of an odd way to frame Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Anyway, it doesn't even matter. Rhea Skeeter is dead to me. So, Mold mead.
Yeah.
Is this an alcoholic beverage? Is Dumbledore trying to actually make this a party? Because mold mead to me sounds like a fancy version of beer. Because I mean, beer, you have like hops and yeast, and like. There was a rumor that he was getting barrels of mold mead for the Yule Ball.
Was it mold?
Mold mead.
Did you double check that?
I mean, I wasn't reading it, but
that's what I mean.
I definitely heard mold mead.
Well,
I don't know what else it would have been.
Oh, mold. MULLED.
Oh, mold.
Mold.
See, again, the fact that I'm not seeing the words, just...
Yep.
Okay, never mind. I was very concerned for Dumbledore trying to get this party started with this sort of beverage.
Well, I mean, it is still alcoholic, I would think. From my understanding, most mead does become alcoholic if you
Once
make
it's
it
fermented, though, right?
Yeah, I mean,
that's where the mold would
how you
come
make
in.
it.
Yeah.
But
okay.
Yeah,
it's totally different. Never mind. Dumbledore's off the hook.
Hey, there was butterbeer there too, though. So
that's true. We still don't really know what that is, do we?
Yeah,
definitively.
They've never really explained fully.
Yeah. I'm sure it has different meanings to kids and adults as they read it, so.
Sure.
Either way, I want a bottle of one right now.
Who doesn't?
Fred and George.
Love them.
They're writing to somebody.
Yeah.
Who are they writing to, Matt?
I can't tell you.
I know you can't, but I want to know. They're being secretive, and
well, I mean, what have we really been seeing them do all year?
Research and development,
pretty much. like at the beginning of this chapter, we just keep seeing more and more Fred and George products make their way to Hogwarts.
Yeah.
We've had the canary creams, fake wands.
Right.
There's at least one other. Oh, it might have just been another mention of the Ton Tongue Toffee. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And later on, they're talking to what's his name, Ludo, about the fake wands, and I don't feel like they're writing to him. Like, I want to know who they're writing to. I'm curious because they're keeping it secret, and those two keeping stuff secret is fascinating and scary at the same time.
It's true.
Yeah. But who knew Fred was such a ladies' man?
Yeah, he is slick. Like this part always gets. I just love how confident he is. Like I don't even want to label him as cocky. I'll just go with confident.
Yeah, because he wasn't doing it to show off. He was just like, it's no big deal.
Yeah. It's like he probably already had some. I mean, he does have some relationship with Angelina. Like we don't see necessarily a romantic relationship or anything, but they're on the Quidditch team together.
Right.
So they know each other well.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just like, yeah, I'm going with her. Oh, wait, I should probably ask her. Let her know, it's like,
Yeah.
But it wasn't like she kind of hesitated and
Mm-hmm.
kind of made it a thing, looked him over. I'm like, but it wasn't going to be a big deal.
No.
And he knew that.
Yeah. It was almost like they had talked about it at some point, but like
Yeah.
hadn't made anything official.
Exactly.
But just like I just imagine like Ron and Harry's jaws just like dropping onto the table. Like it's really that easy. Fred's like,
Yeah.
no big deal. Is Fred also the one that went up and tried to put his name in the cup? Or is that George? I can never keep him straight.
Well, I mean, they both crossed the line.
Did they? They did, didn't they?
That's why they both had beards.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
For some reason I was thinking it was just one.
I think I think one of them went first, and when they saw it didn't have like an instantaneous effect, like the other one followed.
Right.
But they both crossed.
Okay. Do you remember which one was first?
I don't remember offhand.
Okay. I'm just wondering if Fred is written to be the more brash one of the two.
Sure.
Hermione. She's back to her old self.
Yeah.
She's not having to play best friend to Harry Potter anymore. Like she could just sink her nose into books again, look up and inject input when Ron and Harry are talking to each other as she sees fit. She's not having to be like the second, like the best friend to Harry Potter that Ron is.
Yeah. I mean, if you want, you could basically call her a third wheel, but that's not an insult to her. That's where she prefers to be.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So it was nice to have that dynamic back where Ron and Harry are going back and forth and Hermione just quips in every once in a while.
We have our trio back.
Yeah. She's also the voice of reason for dumb 14-year-old boys, and nobody should be surprised by that.
Yeah, very true.
Goodness. And you know what? Like, this is all foreshadowing for the next chapter, and I should have known better, but it's just it's starting to paint the picture of how much more mature she is from Ron and Harry.
Yeah, and that's something we covered a couple weeks ago with the age difference.
Right. But it's also starting to get frustrating for her because she still wants to be their friends. Like, she's still part of that trio. They're in the same year together. Like, they are still, three of a kind.
They're going to be in classes together all the time.
But, like, mentally and emotionally, she is so far beyond them. And it almost, like, hurts her to, like, stoop down to their level just to try to reason with them.
Yeah.
I feel like that's probably how you feel like sometimes when you're talking to me on this podcast. Of, like, this hurts just to try to reason with this guy, but I'm going to do my best.
Oh, yeah. My Harry Potter mental age is so far beyond yours.
Okay, here's something. We don't need to talk about this at length, but definitely something that I thought about really quickly.
Okay.
I want to see a buddy comedy starring Filch and Peeves. I feel like there's some slapstick, comedic timing and storytelling that could happen with those two running around the ground of Hogwarts. That would be hilarious.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, Peeves is the troublemaker, and Filch is the one that always says clean up after him. So
yeah, especially like during the summer when everybody's gone, because I have a feeling Filch doesn't go anywhere on vacation, right? He's still sticking around.
Oh yeah. Someone's got to keep the cats clean, right?
And Peeves just absolutely takes advantage of that situation.
Yeah.
I need to see more from this.
When he's got no kids to torment, I mean,
yeah,
you deal with who's there.
Yeah. So, just a fun little Filch reference. We don't hear from him very much anymore. Peeves still being Peeves, I guess you could say.
Pretty much.
Yeah, just a funny little note.
Yeah.
Cho.
Yes.
Got nervous, Matt.
Nervous?
Nervous.
Why?
When she said that she was going with somebody else. Because I'm thinking,
Yeah.
okay, Harry Potter likes Cho. We know, like, this has been an ongoing thing to last book, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I believe that was the first mention of it.
Cho's going with somebody else. Harry Potter's kind of heartbroken a little bit. He's confused, right? He's taken back. He's like, whoa,
Wasn't expecting that.
wasn't expecting that, right? So that's when I started getting nervous. Because it's like, what's going to hurt Harry Potter the most? If, you know, the girl that he likes and has had a crush on for a while now is going to this ball that he doesn't want to go to in the first place with his arch nemesis.
Hmm.
And I kind of freaked out. I'm like, why would Cho go with Malfoy? That's ridiculous. What? And then I'm thinking, well, she's a Ravenclaw, so they're mysterious in all their decisions, I would assume. Would they get along with Slytherin? Hard to say. Malfoy seems like a smooth talker. Not sure what anybody would want to actually go to this thing with him. He seems kind of slimy, but then again, we don't know what Cho's up to. So I got nervous. I got scared.
Well, I guess the biggest question would be, is Cho a pureblood?
Ooh, I don't know. Is she?
Yeah, I mean, we don't know from the
No.
books yet, so you would have no way of knowing. But that would be my first thing, like my first criterion for who Malfoy would choose, or even bother asking.
Yeah. Well, I didn't get that far into it. I started like writing the next chapter of like going to the ball and Harry seeing Malfoy with Cho, and then this being a whole big thing,
Yep.
and they get into like this duel in the middle of the ballroom, and he gets thrown out of the tournament, and like this whole like big sequence of events happens all because
You were just trying to write some more action.
yeah, maybe that's it. I was like, ooh, this is getting good. No, it turns out she's just going with Cedric, and you know, I'm okay with that.
Sure,
That's a good choice. Harry, I think, respects Cedric. He was kind of
Well,
throwing shade at him after this a little bit.
Yeah. I like. He did mention that Cedric had. It seemed like Cedric had said something to the Hufflepuffs because they had kind of backed off of giving Harry a hard time about the tournament and such.
Yeah.
He noticed a change in their behavior,
Right.
and he attributed that to Cedric, even if it wasn't actually how it happened.
Sure.
But yeah, then it's like, wait, now you're gonna steal my crush?
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not like Cedric would have known, you know?
No. Harry. I mean, I think Harry has maybe told Ron about it,
Yeah.
but other than that, like maybe Hermione knows too, but like no one. This isn't common knowledge.
Right. And Cedric knows her from Quidditch, and I mean, she seems to be a relatively popular student, and it makes sense. It was just Harry being a dumb 14-year-old boy of like all of a sudden now he's jealous, and it's like, well, I mean, you were kind of messing around for several days here when you knew you should have done this already, so it's your own fault, Harry.
Very much so.
And then things just started getting wacky from there, Matt. We have Ron just randomly asking Fleur Delacour to go out. Worth a shot.
Very, very compulsively.
Yeah.
I mean, and then this is one of those instances, like, we as readers now know, like, she's part Vila.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't think about Harry was the only one of our main characters there. Like it was the champions were there during the weighing of the wands.
Yeah.
And so it was a very limited amount of people who found out that she was part Vila.
Sure. Even though they even kind of like joked about it before. And then afterwards Harry is like, yeah, she's part Vila. Like, of course, that's why you asked her.
You were right, you know.
And Ron felt stupid. But you know what? Like, kudos for him for at least trying, even if he didn't really do it consciously, you know?
Yeah.
Neville asking Hermione.
Bold move.
Go Neville.
So proud of Neville for that one.
Absolutely. Like he definitely has a connection with Hermione. Like she's one of the few to be kind to him, to befriend him in a legitimate way. You know, she's consistently trying to help him and at the very least keep him from being picked on. So it made sense. But like even if she wasn't already asked and she had already said yes to somebody else, I still feel like she might not have said yes to Neville because she sees it as more of a platonic friendship that she has with him. And she wouldn't want to like lead him on and make him think that she likes him, type of, like she's smart enough to know boundaries, especially with somebody like Neville.
It's possible. Yeah. He might start to get a little clingy or something, but, I think Neville kind of understood the relationship too.
Yeah.
And he just wanted a date to the dance.
Sure.
So he went for it.
Yeah. And if it came down to it, Hermione may have like just went with them just, for the sake of let's just do this. And
I mean, if no one else had asked her already,
right.
I honestly believe that she would have gone with Neville.
Yeah. I'm just saying right out the gate, I think she would have at least kept her options open just to not lead him on too far.
Sure.
But hey, hats off to Neville, like
absolutely.
He took a step that Ron and Harry couldn't even do.
Exactly. Exactly.
He's the one getting picked on. He's the one that,
he's miles ahead of our 2 stars here.
Yeah. So good for him. But the big question is, who is Hermione going with, right?
Yeah.
And at this point in the notes, Matt, I even put it, and you could go back and read it. I speculated that she was going with Victor. Because I'm thinking, okay, we know 100% she's not going with Malfoy. She's not going with Neville. We know she's not going with Ron or Harry. She's not going with Cedric. What other male characters would she go with that would be impactful in any way? Like, they couldn't just bring in a random character. It wasn't going to be Lee Jordan or anything like that. Like, the fact that they were already starting to build up the mystery, it's like, okay, it's going to be somebody important. Somebody that we have some sort of feelings about.
Gilderoy Lockhart.
If he was available, maybe so. But yeah, so I the power of deduction kind of led me to thinking it was a good old Victor Crumb, and partially might have had something to do with a early prediction I had in the book of Hermione maybe having a thing for Victor.
Yeah, you might have said something about that.
I might have been maybe hopeful that this was going to start coming to fruition. But at this point, we didn't know. We didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
But I had my suspects. And then Harry. Harry finally found a partner to go with.
He did.
Yes. He saw it in the tea leaves, Matt. Pavarti and Lavender, right? That's her name?
Yeah.
Yeah. The 2 crazy kooks that are #1 super fans of Professor Trelawney. There's a reason that they've been mentioned so many times in her class. And I haven't been able to figure it out. It's like, why do they keep focusing on these 2 girls that, other than the fact that they believe everything that Trelawney's saying?
Yeah, I mean, that's part of it.
But they're always mentioned every time,
I mean, they're the other 2 characters that have been mentioned in other books and that are in Gryffindor.
Mm-hmm.
So, like you said, instead of giving us a brand new character, it's like, oh yeah, this person has been here for the past 4 years.
Right.
We've never seen them, but here you go. It's like, yeah, we bring these 2 into the story more now.
Yeah. It was just, it was nice to finally say, okay, now you're part of the story in a more significant way.
Yeah.
It just cracked me up that it just ended up with being Pavarti, and then obviously Lavender was already going with somebody else. Can't remember who she was going with. Did they
She was
say?
she was going with Seamus.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
One of the other fourth-year Gryffindor boys.
Right.
It-
Yeah. So, but Pavarti has a sister,
she does. Twin sister.
twin sister, in Ravenclaw.
Yep.
Fascinating. Now we've talked about. Was this an email?
It may have been.
Where we've talked
Someone may have
about
brought up
how
in an email too.
twins could be in different houses.
Well, yeah, because it started off before we met the two twins, or before we met the twins during the sorting. We knew that there was a pair of twins.
Right.
We didn't know where they got sorted until later on. And in between there, you had asked about, like, just because your family, do you go to the same house?
Right.
Yeah. And so then, someone brought up in the email afterwards.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because I felt like I knew that, but then it felt weird
Yep.
for me to know that information because clearly I don't pay attention to anything Ravenclaw. So why would I know that?
Yep. But I'm honestly hoping that, like, these two chapters, if nothing else, mentioned an awful lot of Ravenclaw.
A lot of Ravenclaw. Apparently, there's a few people in the house.
Yeah.
Weird.
I'm hoping you start to see that. We got Cho, we got Padma,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll get a couple more as we go on.
I'm trying, man. I'm doing my best. But that was pretty much the chapter, right?
Yeah, that was basically it, kind of figuring out who's going with who.
Yeah. It was like the sorting hat amongst kids and dates,
Yes.
Could the sorting hat actually... I wonder if you could, like... The sorting hat has to have to have other abilities. I mean, the sorting hat can make songs. It can sort kids into houses.
I think you would need to bring Mrs. Sorting Hat in. And then maybe they could figure this out.
Yeah. I feel like there's a side job opportunity here somewhere. But I mean, the kids will be kids, and kids are doing their own thing. So, goodness, that of course led to chapter 23.
Chapter 23. Oddly enough, the Yule Ball.
Just
We haven't been talking enough about it already. Not any really new characters, but I think we did get the first mention of a first name. Do you catch this one?
Maybe, I don't know.
Karkaroff?
Oh, Igor.
There you go.
Yes. Snape said Igor's name before we knew it was Karkaroff, and for some reason, I was like, he has to be talking about Karkaroff, right? Like, who else would be named Igor in this freaking
Exactly.
castle?
I just love his name,
Yeah.
Igor Karkaroff. It's a good name,
Very fitting.
good strong name.
Also-
yes, very very fitting.
It doesn't help with the mental image of what I think he looks like.
It's true. It's true. Yes, Igor is typically not pictured as a tall, lanky guy.
No.
Yeah.
Again, short, stocky, like, it's not helping. Like, I
Yeah.
just need to see him now at this point because it's driving me crazy. Because my Karkaroff is different than everybody else's Karkaroff at this point.
It's true.
This didn't help any. Okay, there was a character I thought was new. And Val said, no, stop being dumb. Like, we've definitely talked about her before. I can't remember for the life of me. Professor Sinistra?
Yeah.
What the
we've
heck is
mentioned
that?
Off of the top of my head, I believe she teaches astronomy.
Okay. We ever
Um,
talked about astronomy?
we haven't been like in an astronomy class,
Okay.
but we have talked about her. I think it might be a class that was it one of the extra classes that Hermione was taking,
I have no idea, man.
or
I barely know anything about Professor Sprout and Flitwick. And then there's this other new professor, Sinistra. I don't know who that
Yep.
is.
yeah. But we've definitely mentioned her before.
can't keep up with professors if we've never like had some sort of formal introduction.
Yeah. I understand.
Like
but-
that was so just off-putting. Like when Mad Eye was dancing with Professor Sinistra, I'm like, what? Who is this? You can't just drop a bombshell like that. Like, do I need to know this Professor Sinistra? Like, what's going on here? And it's just like nothing. It's one line in the book. It means nothing.
Yeah, she's been around in other books and will continue to be around as we move forward.
She better be more around soon, or we're gonna have this exact same conversation the next time she's brought up.
Every time. Yep.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
But yeah, she's definitely the astronomy teacher.
Okay, all right. I'll take your word for it. Other than that, there's no other new characters?
No, that should be it.
Okay, well, that's new for me, so.
Fair enough.
Let's see. Chapter 23. Let's see.
Yes.
Pig returns.
Pig returns. Yeah. That owl, he just wants attention. Doesn't care how he gets it or who it's coming from. He just wants attention.
I am so freaking excited to see Pig in the movie. And I'm telling you now, Matt, if Pigwidgeon is not in this film, I'm going to be upset because there was a chance, like, going into it, like, it's just a ancillary little bird, you know, not a big deal. It's just, Pig's been in too many different scenes to not be in this movie in some way, shape, or form. I'm worried that he's not going to be, but I need to see this squirky little bird. Just need it in my life, man.
Sure.
The big thing from the letter, though, from Sirius Black, delivered to Harry Potter. I don't really, honestly, like, it's kind of a jumbled mess of, like, what he was talking about. I think I was just getting lost in teenage drama, snooze fest. But there's two words that he said that I picked out very distinctly.
Okay.
Constant diligence.
Constant vigilance.
Constant vigilance. That's right. See, I wasn't even paying attention to vigilance. We've heard this before.
We have.
Mm-hmm. Mad Eye has preached this on more than one occasion.
Very much so.
Kind of a running theme in the background, I guess you could say.
Yep.
Just constant reminder to Harry to be consistently vigilant.
Yes.
Vigilant? Yes. I'm just curious. Just something I definitely noticed and made me perk up a little bit of, oh, okay. Sirius and Mad Eye are on the same page here.
Yeah, that seems to be a good thing.
Yeah.
Getting the same message from two people.
Right.
Like one, like Harry very much trusts Sirius at this point.
Yes.
And whatever he has to say. And I think he wants to trust Moody. I mean, Dumbledore seems to vouch for him, and now Sirius seems to vouch for him. So, that's good that he's getting same message from both people.
Yeah. Foreshadowing. I know it's 100% foreshadowing for something, but such is the case. Let's see. Now, okay, I'm gonna have to stop here. Because I didn't make a note of it because I knew I was going to want to talk about it. And I should have made a note for it. But I don't remember when exactly we were talking about the classes. Was that in the last chapter or was it this chapter? The last classes that they're going to.
I think that was in the last chapter.
Okay. Well, we need to go back. Just rewind just a few seconds here.
Okay.
They were in the class. It must have been McGonagall's class when they were talking about transfiguration.
It's what she teaches, yeah.
Right? And there was just one little brief line in there. Because sometimes when we're going through like the various things that are going on in the classes, it kind of just all starts to melt together a little bit in my head. But there's one little line in that class that I've been thinking about ever since. And that was when they were specifically talking about cross-species transfiguration.
Yep.
Now, only reason that I care about that, Matt, is because my Winky Muggle theory is kind of cemented in cross-species transfiguration.
Yeah, I can see that.
So it just was odd that, like, they were talking about that in just a brief little mention, as if to, like, prepare our learning minds for what's to come later with our dear friend Winky. So I just want to throw that out there. We don't need to discuss it. We don't need to break it down.
It's
It was just a curious line to slide in.
Slightly reminiscent of when Snape had them write an essay on identifying werewolves.
Yeah, like, where is this going? Where did this come from, you know? Anyway, just throwing that out there. Go listen to the Muggle Theories. Talk all about Winky and cross-species transfiguration.
It's true.
Speaking of house elves,
we have more.
Dobby makes me smile, and I just smile like a dumb fool when Dobby,
dumb 14-year-old boy.
Yeah, like a dumb 14-year-old boy when Dobby enters the book. It's just, I love it. I absolutely love it.
Whereas my first note about Dobby is he lacks people skills.
100%.
Like Harry's reaction to him when he wakes up is basically the same reaction I would have every time he pops up. It's like, Dobby, stop doing that.
But there's no sort of malicious intent at all in Dobby. And that's why it's so endearing and delightful and charming, because regardless of, like, his lack of people skills and social norms, he's just too cute to be mad at. He's just so good to Harry, and even when Harry is, like, slightly annoyed with him, he knows that he doesn't really have to try too hard to completely make his entire year, you know? And Harry understands that, and, like, the friendship that he gives him on such a rudimentary level is just so overwhelming to Dobby. It's hard not to smile when you're reading about this.
Well, it's because it's such a stark opposite of what Dobby has been experiencing from what we have to assume his whole life.
Right.
Up until Harry Potter freed him.
Yep.
Like, the entire time he lived with the Malfoys, and you have to expect that they were awful to him the entire time.
Right. One endearing thing about Dobby is he doesn't appreciate matching socks.
Yeah.
He's very concerned when socks are matching.
My first thought, though, is, like, he sounds like he's starting a collection.
Yeah.
And he's so proud that he has 7.
Right.
And like, I understand you don't like matching socks, but could you at least have an even number because you wear them in pairs, even if they're not matching?
You just rotate them from one foot to the other, Matt.
Yeah, I guess.
You have one on your left foot, one on your right foot. The next day, you move your right foot over to your left foot. You take the left one off, put it in the dirty pile. You take a new one, you put it on your right foot, and the cycle just keeps rotating.
So your left foot never gets clean sock.
Or you could go backwards. You could switch it up and reverse the rotation.
There you
feeling
go.
Froggy. Just fascinating. I was hilarious. It was so funny.
Yeah.
So then Dobby gives Harry a pair of socks that he made.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
He's been buying wool with his wages that he's making.
Yep. and taught himself how to make socks.
Because of course he did, right? Because what else
Yep.
is Dobby going to do in his free time? So he gives Harry this pair of socks. And pair is a very loose term. One of it is a red sock with brooms embroidered on them.
Yep.
And the other sock is green with golden snitches on them.
Yes.
First thought, Matt. My first thought after this was read. I need to buy that pair of socks. In a very quick search to shop for these pair of socks, I could not find them. Now, I didn't want to dig too far because
Sure.
bad things happen. But I was sorely disappointed to find out that I could not buy a replica pair of these socks that Dobby made for Harry Potter. So if anybody out there is listening that knows where a guy could get a pair of these socks, I would 100% wear one red sock, one green sock, with brooms and gold snitches on them, just because I think that's the most adorable thing ever. I just can't find them anywhere. And that's only because I don't want to really dig for them and run into something I shouldn't run into. I don't know what I could find, but what I'm saying is, if they're out there,
has
I
any
can't find
weeds or anything like that, like I don't know if any. I don't think you've really shown them off too much in our Godric's Hollow related stuff, but you very much get into your socks.
Yes.
You love socks.
Yes.
And socks with pictures, socks with bright colors, whatever the case may be.
Right.
You love your socks.
I do.
So yeah, I could totally see you wearing these.
I have a pair of Harry Potter socks that have different artifacts on them, which I wore to Universal Studios and the Wizarding World of Harry Potter when I went with you as a joke.
Did you?
Yeah, because I didn't know what they were, and I thought that was funny that I was wearing socks with all these things that people have attachments to that I have no clue what they are.
Yeah.
I also have a pair of Gryffindor socks and I have a pair of Slytherin socks because apparently Val thinks I need to expand my horizons when it comes to the houses of Hogwarts.
Fair enough.
I also have a pair of giant squid socks that aren't giant squid Harry Potter socks, but we all know.
They kind of are.
They kind of are, you know. But if I could get a pair of Dobby-made socks, I would like to procure those if possible. So if anybody has any leads, let me know.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah. People have definitely made them because there's pictures of them out there and people wearing them and such. Yeah. But whether or not you can actually get your hands on them, that is the question.
Right. I figure somewhere like Etsy or something would probably...
Exactly. That's probably the best bet, but...
Yeah. So, if anybody could help me out, I would very much appreciate it, and Matt would appreciate me not digging into the depths of the internet for that kind of stuff. So,
you got it.
Anyway, this whole scene with Dobby just it made my heart warm, and it was a nice respite in between dumb teenage drama, enough to keep me going, to help me push through to the end of the chapter, Matt. Also, I kind of just like Christmas at Hogwarts. Like, it's kind of a cool place and time of year.
It's true.
All the kids are giving gifts to each other, and of course, Mrs. Weasley gifts, and you know, her wonderful sweaters and all that stuff. Like, it's just fun to experience Christmas with the trio and the people in the house and all that good stuff. So,
yep.
Okay. Next question.
Go for it.
Have we ever talked about fairies before in the world of Harry Potter? We've definitely talked pixies.
Yeah, we've talked pixies. That's probably the closest we've gotten.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think we've specifically talked fairies.
Okay. Because fairies are used as decorations here. to dance in
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
rosebuds.
basically.
I'm sure it was a very cool scene, but like it was just so casually placed in there of fairies, and I'm like, I had to stop and think. Like, one, it doesn't surprise me at all. Like, I wasn't shocked to hear, oh, they're using fairies as decoration. Like, no, that's a totally normal thing.
Exactly, and I think that's why it wasn't necessarily brought up or made a big deal.
Right.
Is that fairies are something? They're a magical creature you would expect to find.
Sure.
Unlike some of these others that have been introduced along the way that surprise you time and again, like this is something you would expect to find. So it's like, yes, they are in this world as well. She's letting you know, and this is how we use them, but not going to make a big deal about it.
Right. I just didn't know if it was I've been conditioned to not be surprised by that sort of thing anymore, or we've had mentions of them, so I just didn't care too much. But
Sure.
also, I'm kind of obsessed with this game that you might have heard of called The Legend of Zelda. And there's some fairies in there that just kind of float around and you could use them and such. And associating fairies in like this kind of way was just, it wasn't a surprise at all.
Yeah. It probably didn't help that in these chapters as well, the Gryffindor Tower password was changed to fairy lights.
Right.
And so we got even more mentions of fairy.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of which, Fat Lady and Violet.
Yes.
It concerns me that the paintings that are guarding the houses are just getting just toasted.
We see, and like I have questions about that. Like,
yeah.
do the paintings actually need sustenance? Do they need to eat to stay alive? Can paintings die? But then, even if whether they do or not, the other question I have is, where are they getting all this food and drink?
From other paintings.
Like, is it
down
being
the Hufflepuff hallway?
Is it being produced in other paintings, or is it like do the house elves somehow magic it into the paintings? Or
Probably
like I don't know how that works, but because it just seems like I don't imagine this is the first time they've done this,
Right.
and they've probably been there for hundreds of years or something like that.
Sure.
So where is this like everlasting supply coming from?
I mean, as far as like the sustenance goes, like I don't think they need sustenance. Like we saw the Ghost and the Death Day celebration have food.
Sure.
Like they clearly don't need food. Like it was just a party and it was
Yep.
just there for the sake of it being there. I'm more concerned with like the security of the houses when the paintings that are accepting passwords from people are just on their backs, completely drunk.
You know Violet talked her into it. She brought the alcohol over. It's like, hey, want to party? Everybody else is.
Everybody else is busy. We're fine. They won't need to even get in here.
We got a few hours.
And I wonder if that's why they changed the password to something easy, like fairy lights, so like they could just hear something vaguely similar and sure, go open it up. These crazy paintings, Matt. There's a whole world in Hogwarts that just fascinates me.
It's true.
Hermione is going with Krum.
She is.
Yeah.
But we don't find this out until the actual ball. And Harry, even the first time he sees her, doesn't recognize her.
Right.
He saw a pretty girl in blue robes that he didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what?
Yeah.
I mean, that has to be a drastic change.
Right.
To not recognize the girl you've been hanging out with for the past 4 years.
Right. Well, it was just recently that Harry and Ron decided that she was a girl.
Yes.
you know, like they've never looked at her as anything other than just one of their best friends.
Yeah.
So apparently Hermione is a girl, in fact. In my notes, I mentioned that Ron is going to flip when he finds out that Hermione's going with Krum.
Yeah, once he finally notices.
Yeah. I mean, of all the people, you know, like, Krum is definitely, you know, Ron's man crush, but he's clearly very interested in Hermione, and he's being super jealous that she's going with somebody and won't tell him who it is. Like, this is just a recipe for disaster. You know it's not going to go well, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And, you know, why would we have a school dance if everything went according to plan? You know?
God has some conflict. Yep.
Have to. I mean, if anybody's seen Back to the Future, they know school dances, conflict, have to happen. So, I mean, everybody's kind of taken back by Hermione and her looks.
Yeah.
Like, this is like the first time that she's like gotten dressed up and presented herself in this way.
I mean, to be perfectly honest, this is every teen drama movie
Yeah.
with you take the glasses off the nerdy girl and here you go.
She's all that, undo the ponytail, and all of a sudden she's,
Yep.
yeah, supermodel. This was her coming out party, though. Like, this was her feeling like who she is, you know, and feeling good about herself and confident, and
Yeah.
Good
yeah,
for her.
She's ready to have a great time tonight.
yeah. And you know, she's not doing it to hurt anybody's feelings. Like, she was asked by Krum. I knew from long ago that there was something there under the surface. So no surprise, really. But you know, she's not doing it maliciously. She's not doing it to hurt anybody's feelings. She's doing it because she was asked, and she's like, you know, this Krum, he's a pretty good looking guy. I'm flattered that he would even ask me. Like, he's a Quidditch pro, you know? Like, this guy has everything going on for him. Of course I'm going to say yes. And also, like, her curiosity of meeting international wizards and getting to know people outside of Hogwarts.
Yeah, and she brings it up too, but like in the beginning when they mentioned the Triwizard Tournament, they kind of said that's what the point of the Triwizard Tournament is.
Right.
Is to get to know the other schools, the other students, make friends with them.
Yeah. And she has an insane thirst for knowledge, and that kind of fits into exactly what she's about.
Unfortunately, she gets stuck with the guy who is not really all that eloquent.
No, but he's trying.
Yeah, but I get the idea that English is not his first language.
Sure. And even with that, like, I still never felt like throughout this entire chapter that he was being a jerk to her in any way, or being mean, or being rude, or anything. It was just he was having troubles communicating with her in ways that he wanted to.
Yeah.
And that was frustrating for him, but it wasn't any sort of rudeness at all.
Yeah, and I mean, I think J.K. tries to lighten it up a little bit with Krum having so much trouble trying to pronounce her name. And I think, I mean, you can't give him too much crap, because Hermione's name was the one main name in the book that everybody had trouble with early on, like until the first movie came. I mean, JK probably answered it before that once the book started getting bigger, but like until the first movie came out and we all heard it.
Did this book come out before the first movie?
This one, I believe the first movie came out right after this book.
Okay, because this would be the official first time that it's spelled out phonetically, right?
Yeah, I have a feeling JK probably answered it in a couple interviews here or there,
right?
But yeah,
to the normal kids just reading his books as they come along,
I kind of think that's why it was spelled out that way.
She was just like, "Oh my god, people stop asking me how to say her name." Okay,
yeah,
we'll address it in this book.
It adds a little bit of humor, but and they gave the line obviously to the perfect guy,
Right, right.
but I think that's a big part of why it's in there.
Yeah. Good stuff, good stuff. Not good stuff, Matt.
Yeah.
Why is Percy here? What in the world is Percy doing at this ball?
He got a promotion.
He says he got a promotion.
Yeah, the
Supreme
he's
ruler
going
of
with
the universe.
the title of personal assistant, but in my mind, he's like, I mean, he's essentially a replacement for Winky.
I had not looked at it like that, but that's so true.
Yeah, he got rid of his old assistant, so sure, you can do everything I need you to.
Weatherby the house elf.
Yep.
Oh, that's hilarious. Oh, Percy. We were going along in this chapter just fine. Everything's just rolling along. And then just Percy comes in. And it's like, oh, God, Percy. Like, you just make me shake my head just consistently.
Yep.
It's just too much, Matt. He's too much for me.
Yeah.
We did find out that Crouch is not doing so well and is kind of taking a leave of absence.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, I
That's
mean,
interesting.
Percy almost seems to know too much about Crouch's activities.
Yeah, well, he's a very nosy guy.
Yeah.
I found it interesting that Crouch is not doing well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very, very curious. I'm sure we'll revisit that at a certain time. When
It's
predictions
very
start
possible. Very possible.
coming true, Matt. Let's see. Okay. Here's the thing that blew my mind, and I had to stop and like reevaluate everything I was reading because this one little instance took me so far out of like the immersion of what I'm reading. I just couldn't help but try to like wrap my head around it, and I still really can't.
Okay.
Dumbledore has been into a room recently that he did not even know existed in that castle.
Yeah.
That
It's
blows my mind. I know the castle's big, but you are the headmaster. You should know every nook and cranny of that castle.
You remember book 2?
I remember book 2.
What was the title of book 2?
Chamber of Secrets.
Did anybody know where the Chamber of Secrets was?
No, but that was also locked behind like this really obscure key that only, very
But
certain
come
people
on.
could open.
Come on. The staff had been searching the entire year. They people throughout the decades have searched for it, and nobody ever found it.
Sure. Okay, they at least knew it was in the castle, right?
It was a rumor, and many of them believed that it didn't exist because no one could find it.
Okay. But this room he just stumbles into one night.
Yep.
It was a funny little quip about like, was it, the location of the moon or like the time of day, or I don't even know all the circumstances they threw out to possibly explain why it was hilarious and equally disturbing that there are potentially other rooms in this castle that Dumbledore doesn't even know exists.
Yeah.
Castle's full of secrets, Matt.
It is. It's Hogwarts. It's amazing.
It's something, all right. It's something. Let's see. Neville
Yes.
and Ginny.
Neville and Ginny.
How about that?
Did you see that one coming?
I did not. There's times when I forget Ginny is there.
Yeah, she popped up a couple times though.
Yeah. Kind of made sense after the fact. And, I kind of have a feeling that she went with Neville just because she wanted to go to the ball and she knew she probably wasn't going to be asked by anyone else older, which meant she wasn't going to be able to go. But at the same time, like, she was also being pretty nice to Neville. And even though she was a backup plan, she was just like, you know what? Let's go and have fun. Let's just do this.
Yeah, I think they work out very well. They're both kind of, I guess, the kind of fringe characters who pop up from time to time, have a lot of interaction with the trio and such. But yeah, I see no reason why they wouldn't work well together, other than the fact that, I mean, when they start dancing, he keeps stepping on her toes. But
yeah,
that's not her fault. So
no, but she put up with it, you know.
Yeah,
she wasn't like, no, we're not going to dance anymore. She's just like, whatever, let's just do this, you know.
Yeah, she had a great time with him. Sounds like.
You know what? Good for them. I'm happy for them. That's a happy little couple right there.
Yep.
Even if it's just a one night thing, you know. Enjoy the night, kids. Enjoy the night. Ron and Harry are quickly losing their dates.
Yeah.
Harry lost his, you know, quickly. Once
Harry
she got asked,
basically had the one official dance.
Yeah.
That they had to do, and then after that, she was gone.
And at this point, in my head, Padma's already gone, but like she's still there at the table.
Yeah, she's still there waiting for her dance. I'm like, you agreed to be my date. Come on.
That's why, like, several pages later, when she's just like, okay, I'm just going to finally leave, I'm like, wait, she was still there? How are we supposed to notice her if Ron's not even paying attention to her, you know?
Yep.
Poor Padma.
Yep. And I just love how blunt he is. It's like, are you even going to ask me to dance? No.
Nope.
Nope. Not even on my mind. Sorry.
Too busy being a dumb 14-year-old boy.
Yeah.
Love and jealousy, man. It does crazy things to a kid.
It does.
Yeah. Especially dumb 14-year-old boys, Matt. He's clearly jealous of Crumb and Hermione, and he's just being stupid about it.
Absolutely.
I love the line, though. I absolutely love the line. Fraternizing with the enemy. She just, like, flips out. She's like, what are you talking about, you dumb kid? Like,
Harry's competition.
Yeah, but he wasn't looking at it like that. It was his competition. He was internalizing the enemy as being his competition because he's dancing with Hermione. And it's clear that Ron has a thing for Hermione, and it's driving him insane that Crumb is dancing with her.
Sure.
You know, up until this point, even when he's going against Harry in the tournament, he's still a huge fan of Victor Crumb. He's still thinking about getting autographs from him. He's still thinking about his little figure that he has, and, you know, whatever posters on the wall, and he's still a fan of Victor Crumb up until this moment.
Yeah. Things may be changing.
Yeah. So it had nothing to do, regardless of what Ron was saying, of being competition of Harry Potter. This was direct competition of Ron Weasley. He was looking out for numero uno. But you know what? He had his chance. Like, Hermione even threw it back at him. You know, she was like, you could have asked me.
Yep.
At any point. And you chose not to.
Yeah. You just look at how much trouble they had talking to the other girls out there.
Right.
Like, they're always, the big thing was trying to get him alone.
Yeah.
And you look at how much time or trouble Crumb went through to try to ask Hermione.
Go in the library every day.
Yep.
Turns out
we saw him up there a lot.
He's not doing anything other than just trying to work up the courage to talk to Hermione.
Yeah. Whereas Ron would have had it really easy. Right there every day in her inner circle, talking to her every day.
Yeah.
All he had to do was ask.
Dumb kid.
Yep.
But hope he learned a lesson from this.
We'll find out.
Now, I don't know what Percy was up to when I wrote these notes. I completely have spaced Percy being Percy. But at some point I wrote Percy just stop being Percy for a second. I don't know what Percy was Percy doing, but something was irritating me at this point. Do you remember what he was up to?
Was all of this in line? He came like after Padma left.
Uh-huh.
Percy came over and sat down at their table.
Okay.
And he was, what was he talking to them about? I don't remember exactly what he was talking to him about,
See,
but it
Percy
was something.
just talks and your brain just shuts off.
Yeah, they definitely wanted to get up and get away, I believe.
I don't remember what it was. It was just...
yeah.
goodness.
Yeah.
It's amazing how they managed to work Percy back into this story, even though he's gone. Can't escape. Eventually, this led into Snape and Igor Karkaroff hanging out together mysteriously.
Yeah, having, or at least trying to have a private conversation.
Yeah, I mean, there's kids hiding in rose bushes doing kid things.
Yeah.
This is concerning, Matt.
Yeah.
Now, I know we're made to feel like we can't trust Karkaroff, right? He's a former Death Eater. He's headmaster of the opposing school. Seems kind of gruff and aggressive.
Yeah.
And we all know we can't...
Wants to keep everything secret.
Right. And we all know we can't trust Snape at all.
Sure.
He's just a horrible, horrible character. So this is just made to build suspicion tenfold, and I feel like I'd be falling for a trap if I bought into it. Like, it's definitely suspicious that they're talking in private and whatever they're talking about, but at the same time, it's almost too obvious that these two characters would be in cahoots in some negative way. Or maybe it's all exactly the way it sounds, and maybe Snape doesn't want a champion to come from Hogwarts because he's so mad at Dumbledore for never getting the job that he wants that he's just going to, be a turncoat to the school that employs him and help another school or attempt to win the cup for this reason. So, I don't know. I don't understand what's going on here, but it feels a little too obvious that these two dark and mysterious folks would be talking to each other. I don't know. I don't know what to think of it.
We'll have to wait and see.
We will. It's too much, Matt. I don't know. it was such a weird thing in this chapter too. Of all the things going on, it just kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah, it had been all about the dance, all about the kids, and
it's almost like she was trying to remind us that we can't trust Karkaroff and that Snape's still Snape.
Sure.
But why? That's what I want to know. Why?
That's the question.
Then we got into the most interesting part of this entire week's reading, Matt.
Yeah.
Hagrid.
You love Hagrid.
I love me some Hagrid. We get to find out about his childhood. Not the most ideal situations. Here's the burning question.
Yeah.
I was under the impression that everybody knew that Hagrid was a half giant.
So
we were introduced to Hagrid as being a half giant, correct?
No.
No?
I've been wanting to ask you this for a couple weeks, and I thought about it, and I knew this was coming up, and I figured I'd address it now.
Okay.
Because I know for a few weeks now, you have mentioned that Hagrid was a half giant.
Right.
And I honestly didn't know where you got that from.
That was not in the first book?
I do not believe so.
When we're first introduced to Hagrid, he's not introduced as a half giant?
I do not believe so. I believe this is the first mention of half giant.
I cannot remember a time when I didn't know that Hagrid was a half giant. Was it something maybe you said early on when we were talking about like Hagrid in the beginning?
If I did, I don't remember it. He's always described as too big to be loud. I think once we get a description as like 3 times as tall as a normal man and 5 times as wide or something like that. But to my knowledge, to my memory, this is the first time he's ever mentioned as a half giant.
I swear I have heard that description of him somewhere. So reading this, I was taken back because I'm like, why is Ron surprised by this? Or why is Madame Maxime, like, taken back by this? Like, of course Hagrid's a half giant. Like, he's not like a full giant. Like, he's bigger than most people, but he's not towering over everybody.
You see, I don't think that's necessarily a given, just because, in my experience, the term giant varies from, franchise to franchise, or just different scenarios. Whoever's writing the fantasy
right
has a slightly different definition of giant.
Here's the thing, Matt. I am 100% sure we have talked about this before, because I remember early on in the first book when I was kind of tripping out about Hagrid walking down the street with the Muggles.
Sure.
Like, I vividly remember mention of, like, there not being many half giants around, and, like, you know, it's not a common thing. But am I crazy? Am I making all of this up in my head? Because
I think so.
I went into this 100% assuming a half giant for whatever reason.
It surprised me the first time you mentioned it, and I don't think you started referring to him as a half giant until somewhere in book 4
with Madame Maxime.
That was probably it. When we got another big person, but
because I've never looked at him as just oversized or using some sort of spell or hex to be larger, like Ron assumed.
Sure.
Did they mention it maybe in a movie by accident?
It's one of those things, I guess, I've never paid attention that closely to, so it's possible, but I really don't think so.
We're gonna have to ask the audience for help on this.
Yeah, yeah. Did anybody else notice anything?
In any time, like, was there ever a mention?
Yeah,
accidentally
book, movie,
or not,
or our podcast? Yeah, did that ever come up?
Matt, I'm drinking too much of Trelawney's tea these days. I don't like even Val. She was like, "Oh, nobody knows that he's a half giant." I'm like, "What do you?" Everybody knows. Like, we the readers know that he's a half giant. Why wouldn't anybody else know that he's a half giant? Where am I coming up with this, Matt?
I really don't know. Like I said, I noticed you started calling him a half giant, but I just didn't know where you were getting that from. and I knew it was true, so I wasn't gonna stop you, but I knew we'd have this conversation eventually.
Yeah, I guess in my head he's not a giant to where, like, he could still reasonably fit, you know, through doorways, even if, like, the doorways are a little bit bigger at Hogwarts or whatever. He's still sitting at the table with them. So he's not like a giant in where, like, a giant would just be, like, just massive. Like, you can't fit inside this shack or this building or whatever. Like, he's extra large in every shape and every which way that he could be. So, like, half giant, like, totally made sense to me. Like, he's not quite giant, but he's definitely not normal size either. Like, he's in between somewhere. Now, I don't think I'd ever, like, put the thought of, like, one of his parents was a giant and one of his parents was not, or, like, this was just another form of people, I guess.
So, like, the term half giant is not like something JK invented.
Okay.
Half giants are definitely in other media.
Okay.
So you understanding like what a half giant might be, like I get that. But yeah, I don't think it was. I really don't think it was mentioned.
I just have
before.
never
Like,
thought of him as anything else.
yeah, that's
Maybe I just made that
very
connection
odd.
on my
I don't
own early on.
it wouldn't be the first time you made a connection.
No, maybe like seeing the movie and like seeing like his size proportionately to everybody else.
Yeah. So that's the one other thing I was going to touch on is like size wise, it's kind of weird. I think it is actually, I think they got it from JK somewhere. That he is supposed to be somewhere around like 11 feet tall.
Okay.
But I think like the movie directors claim they made him proportionally to look like 8'6" or something like that.
Yeah, he wasn't
Yeah,
that big.
I mean,
Big enough.
you can do a lot with cameras, but still,
Yeah.
reasonably.
I mean, especially next to, Harry Potter at a young age, like,
Yeah,
he looked even bigger, but man, I don't like this whole thing. I was just so confused by like the reaction, like, why are we even covering this? And why is Madame Maxime so offended by this? And, like now we have to have a discussion about why half giants and giants are bad and why they're looked down on. And I'm like distressed over here as I'm like reading this. And I'm like, we knew Hagrid's a half giant. But maybe I'm just making all this crazy stuff up in my
you
head
knew.
now. I'm already past it, I'm like, this isn't a big deal. Let's move on here, folks.
Yeah,
So I don't know what to think of this anymore. I mean, obviously we need to find out more about half giants and giants and, their impact on the wizarding world and culture and society. Because that seems like there's the whole thing going on there.
yeah, definitely.
But I'm just sitting here just shocked and confused. Like, this isn't... What are we talking about? I don't even know. I don't know. So then, like, the after we got past that, and I was still contemplating life at that point, Cedric returned the favor to Harry Potter of helping him out with the dragons.
Directly this time.
And I was like, you know what? I got a lot of respect for this Cedric character.
Yeah,
He's a good kid through and through.
Hufflepuff.
Hufflepuff, can't deny that, Matt. Told Harry to go take a bath with the egg. I don't know what that means.
Harry doesn't either. Just as confused.
And I'm like, okay, where's this going to go? How is this going to solve anything? But my mind immediately goes to, had Cedric figured this out already?
Well, it's been a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Like, Hermione's been all over Harry. Like, you should get on this. You should get on this. You should get on this. We've heard it multiple times. And he's like, no, don't worry. Well, it's usually Ron chiming in. It's like, don't worry. He's got plenty of time.
Right.
He's going to hang out with me now.
Yeah. They were too worried about Christmas and then finding girls and finishing the last classes of the term and everything else. But I don't know. We'll see. I'm curious to find out what the secret is and how a bath plays into everything.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. But I also find it interesting that the prefects have their own bathroom.
Yeah, like, it doesn't surprise me, though.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Another nice privilege of being a prefect, but
Sure.
Not something I ever would have thought of up to this point.
Right. My first thought
like,
is Harry's going into another place that he's not supposed to be in.
Hey, but he has the password, so
The
he's
mad
supposed to be there,
delinquent.
right? Yes. entering. Well, I mean, he already spent half a year in the girls' bathroom.
That's true. And going into bathrooms he's not supposed to is pretty common these days. For
Specialty of his. What's your superpower, Harry? I can go into bathrooms I'm not supposed to.
Infiltrating the enemy's bathrooms. Yeah, and then, I mean, as far as like ending a weekly reading, I can't say this really ended with any sort of climax. It just kind of ended.
Yeah. But it was already a long reading.
Oh boy, was it.
and I would love to give you another chapter, but it got long, so
yeah, that was
had to cut it off there for you.
Yeah. The amount of different voices that Val had to do while reading this. We had Victor's, we had Fleur de la Cour, we had Madame Maxime, who else did we have? Hagrid. Like just them, like trying to do all those.
Sure.
She's too good. She's too good.
Someday.
Yeah.
She'll have to perform.
Mm-hmm. Well, since we're done with the reading, we might as well talk about the Muggle Pool.
I think that's a good time as any.
All right.
So we're basically just talking about the Yule Ball, and we have a lot of couples.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to put them up for vote. Which couple is the best?
Yeah.
So obviously we can only ever have 4 choices.
Right.
But there were more than 4 couples mentioned in this book. So I tried to pick the 4 that hopefully you have most feelings about.
Mm-hmm.
So I even though I kind of figured he's going to lose the poll, I just could not include Harry.
Right.
So we have Harry and Parvati.
I mean, it started off fine.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's one that, Harry actually asked her out.
Yeah.
As opposed to Ron's, which was like a blind date, basically. Then we have Victor and Hermione. We have Cedric and Cho. And Neville and Ginny.
I have a feeling people liked the underdogs in this one. Personally, though, I went Cedric and Cho. I feel like that's a power couple right there.
Very well could be.
Like strong Quidditch players. You got one Ravenclaw, one Hufflepuff. Cedric, he's a stand-up guy. Cho, like, she hasn't shown any negative qualities that she has. Like,
yeah,
I like that. That could be an it couple,
I can see it.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. We got 44% for Neville and Ginny. But a little bit of a surprise for me, we got 36% with Victor and Hermione.
Mm-hmm.
Then only 18 for Cedric and Cho. And we did get 2% for Harry and Parvati.
Yeah. Pity votes, I think. Yeah, the Victor and Hermione one kind of surprised me.
Yeah.
I mean, they seem to work well together. They got along. I don't know where it will lead. Obviously, other people have more knowledge of that than I do, but I appreciate Neville and Ginny getting the underdog votes here.
Oh yeah, I even voted for them.
Sure, it's okay for them to win something.
There you go.
Yeah,
a win for Neville.
Yeah, a win for Neville is a win for all of us, Matt.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, thank you for everybody for participating in the Muggle Poll. Of course, the Muggle Poll could be found on Twitter at Tales from GH. Matt puts it up at 4 p.m. Pacific time every Monday afternoon. So we get a few hours of voting in before we record the show. So look forward to that every single week. It's always a fun time to see where you guys stand on the hot button topics of the week.
Yep.
Do we have any emails this week, Matt?
Oh, I suppose we have a few.
All right.
All right. First one here is from, I think, a new fan.
Ooh.
Another Katie, actually.
Hi, Katie.
So it says, Dear Matt and Josh, Ravenclaw is a thing. Matt,
Definitely
you obviously know this. But Josh, you better believe me because I am also a Ravenclaw.
If you say so, Katie.
She also says, I've read the series 5 times, and I think you should do a poll on that. That would make an interesting poll sometime. How many times have you read the series?
Yeah.
I'll keep that in mind. She apparently likes taking a lot of tests and quizzes related to Harry Potter. She also says that her Patronus is a brown hair, and we should take that test as well, which we actually have.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've taken the Patronus quiz.
Mm-hmm.
Josh, you remember what yours is?
I got a dolphin, my friend.
That's right.
Yeah.
You were pleasantly surprised with that one.
Absolutely.
Yeah, mine is a hedgehog, which
Okay.
I'm happy with.
Yeah.
It's probably not quite as exciting as a dolphin, but I'm okay with it.
Sure.
Yeah. And she also says, Josh, have you ever considered the possibility that Crookshanks is Voldy?
My theories on Crookshanks were all over the place last week. I've considered Voldy to be several different things at this point. He's going to pop up in some way, shape, or form here. But I feel like Crookshanks is off the table at this point because he's pretty much non-existent in this book. Which also kind of worries me, too.
I mean, so far, yeah, we haven't really seen, but
Brief
who
mentions,
knows?
just a couple
Who
times.
knows?
Yeah, who knows? If Voldemort turns out to be Crookshanks, I'm going to lose my mind, Matt.
You've been surprised before.
That's true.
But yeah, thank you, Katie.
Absolutely.
Next email is from Mandy.
Hi, Mandy.
Starts off, I am in danger of exploding.
There's a potion for that.
I'm not going to read all of these, but she is so. I actually put this into a word counter. She is so times 238
Wow.
excited because she is going to Universal Studios in Orlando
Hey, how about that?
at the end of the month.
I'd be that excited too.
I am such a Harry Potter nut. Even my gym teacher makes comments about my obsession. Any tips on what to do at the park?
Matt, I'm going to have to defer to you on this one. I mean, drink as much butterbeer as you can.
There you go. Yeah, so she's going to Orlando. You haven't been there.
Right.
Just means there's more to do.
Sure.
Make sure you get the Park Hopper Pass or whatever they call it there. Is Park Hopper a Disney thing technically? I don't know.
I didn't even know there was a park to hop to in Universal Studios Orlando, so this is news.
Yeah,
to me.
yeah. There's multiple parks.
Okay.
But they have a Harry Potter section in each of them.
Oh, that's right. I remember you saying that. Okay.
Yeah. So you want to make sure you get into both parks so you get the full experience.
Sure.
Apparently now they've included a small tribute to Fantastic Beasts.
What?
It's just like a small hidden area. There's nothing to really do other than take your picture by it. But it's kind of off the hidden path. Off the hidden path. Wait a minute.
Off the
Wow.
beaten path?
There you go.
Okay.
A
hidden path off the beaten path.
There you go. That's yes. You knew what I was saying. But yeah, so I can't give you exact instructions on how to get there.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't even seen it myself because obviously Fantastic Beasts was not a thing when I was there.
Sure.
But something to look for while you're there. If you're spending some time there, let us know if you find it.
Yeah.
Take a picture, post it.
Also, I recommend checking out the dragon on top of the bank and reporting back to me as to what that dragon is and why it's there. That would be fabulous.
You can definitely check out the dragon. Do not report to Josh.
Fine.
Another question. Have you played any Harry Potter trivia? Well, not in any official sense. I mean, I may have taken a quiz here or there, but
sure.
Yeah, we're definitely not letting Josh play any trivia right now.
Is there like a Trivial Pursuit version of Harry Potter? There probably is, right?
There is. It's not a full version. Like, I think it's just a set of questions.
Okay. Like an add-on.
I think from what I've heard, they're based on the movies, like strictly on the movies. So anything that's different in the movies or book, yeah. Like, if you get it, you have to know that going into it.
Sure.
That it's based on the movies. Otherwise, yeah, you're probably going to be disappointed. It just feels like that there should be a market for that. Like, I don't know why that hasn't been done more thoroughly.
So you're saying there's no questions about giant squid?
I didn't say that. We haven't made it through the series.
Oh, Matt, you're teasing me now.
So yeah, Josh obviously can't play that for now, but
I can't
someday.
do all the fun stuff. I'm sorry.
What are you going to do after you finish all the books? Are you going to reread the books and dissect them a little deeper?
Can I dissect them anymore? Like, I might just power through them and just try to enjoy them all in, like,
sure,
larger context.
Yeah. I mean, that's something we've kind of talked about. I think we kind of discussed that a little bit on our AMA episode, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Things we might do when we get through.
We're going to do every single Harry Potter quiz on the internet.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We'll figure something out.
Yeah.
Don't worry. We'll keep it going.
We have yours. Don't worry.
Yep. Finally, she says, "It is painful to listen to Josh call the darkest murderer of his time the most powerful wizard, only second to Albus Percival Wulfric Brian Dumbledore, a man."
Whoa, hold on. Is that his real full name?
Have we not gotten to that?
I don't think so.
Okay.
When have we ever learned that many names of that guy?
Yeah. It's his name. It's not a big detail, but yeah.
It's a mouthful.
A man who isn't even really a man, a wizard who people fear to speak his name, and you just call him Voldy. Really?
I have no reason to fear him. The most I've seen of him is a face on the back of some whimpering, blubbering idiot. So, Voldy it is until otherwise recognized.
Fair enough.
I mean, as far as I know, he's just a stupid little house elf right now. So, again, nothing to fear.
All right. This next email comes from Rhonda.
Hi, Rhonda.
I think it's been a little while since we've heard from her, but she has another picture, some artwork she made that I will be sending over.
Okay.
And reading about it as we go. She says, "Dear Josh and Matt, I just got back to the States from Eastern Europe and finished listening to the latest episode. Entertaining as always, and I can't wait till Josh gives up the ghost on Rita. But we may be waiting for an eternity on that. Or not.
Well, she's going to be pleasantly surprised, isn't she?"
I thought I would include a picture I did for the daughter of a friend of mine. She is having a Fantastic Beasts theme party, and her dad requested something on that theme.
Is there an invite to this party?
If you want to go ahead and take a look at the picture.
I'm looking at it.
All right. She says, "The clock you may recognize." I wouldn't have recognized this except she shared it in our Patreon Slack chat this week.
Mm.
But the clock you may recognize as the astronomical clock in Prague. It's where she was vacationing
Totally
in
knew
Eastern
that,
Europe. Did you?
No.
Okay. She says, every time I walked by this clock, I took a picture of it. It's impossible not to. Can you find the Niffler hiding there?
Oh, yeah.
As well as a special birthday message.
Oh, there it is. I see the birthday.
Yeah, it's in there.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I think, well, everything she sent over so far, she said no problem with me posting it on Twitter. So
Sure.
I will do that later this week. Let everybody check this out because it's a nice piece.
I thoroughly enjoy it. And you know what the best part about it is?
Yeah.
Which you probably didn't mention, but I'm going to point it out here. Can you find Dougal?
Oh, Josh.
I'll let you just look at that one for a while, Matt, and let me know when you
Okay.
find him.
I hope the little owl made it safely into Josh's hands, and luckily I don't have to wait long for the next episode.
Never have to wait too long. And
So
yes,
thank you,
and
Rhonda, for that.
Yes.
I guess if you don't want me sharing that picture, please let me know. I'll wait a couple of days. But yeah, otherwise we'll put that out there.
Yep.
Next email from Harry,
Not Potter?
not Potter.
Hi, Harry. Not Potter.
It says, hey, Matt and Josh. So, Roger Davies, Ravenclaw hero. Not only does he prove to Josh that more Ravenclaws exist, he managed to catch the attention and affections of the one and only Fleur Delacour.
That's right.
If we
I forgot
can't-
about Roger Davies.
Yeah, I didn't bring him up during the show, but
Yeah.
another Ravenclaw. If
But
we
we've met
can't
him
have,
before, right?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's why he wasn't on the list.
Okay.
I think it was probably just during a Quidditch match because he's the captain of the Ravenclaw team.
Yeah. Okay.
If we can't have a representative in the Triwizard Tournament, this has to be the next best thing, right?
Agreed.
My other comment this week is on Moody's eye, and a particularly creepy ability that he showed off this week. It can see through clothes. Sure, he only used it to comment on Harry's socks through his dress robes, but I have some serious privacy concerns about the misuse of this eye now.
You know, I remember that, and I just kind of overlooked it as... Huh.
Well, I mean, we've talked about it before. Like, his eye can see through the back of his head. It can see through solid wood. It can see through... Like, I kind of get the idea that there's not really anything it can't see through. So,
Again, which is concerning. Harry brings up a very valid point here.
yeah, I like it's brought into a different light in this instance. It makes you think about it differently. But yeah, I honestly kind of think it can see through anything.
Yeah. All right.
Finally, poor Hagrid. It's dating 101. You just never ask a lady if she's a half giant.
Yeah, it's probably solid advice. I mean, you should probably wait, until she invites you to meet her family, then maybe
It's not-
have that discussion.
Yeah, not first date material.
No, or second or third. Like, I don't think this is definitely not their first date, but like, still very early into the courting process to ask that sort of thing, unless Hagrid's like me and just assumes everybody knows what's up with half giants, and then it's not a big deal. Hagrid and I are just, two lost souls wandering the earth, very confused about things right now.
Yeah. Next email from Joe.
Hey, Joe.
Says, hey guys, been super busy over here, so I'm jumping right into these chapters. I felt chapter 22 was an easy, enjoyable read with a lot of relatable things happening in terms of struggling to ask someone out. Sometimes I feel that they go out of the... next point. Sometimes I feel they go out of their way to make a point that Neville is bad at something. In this case, transfiguration. We get it. He's not very good at many things, but leave him alone. He's trying.
Also,
I
he's not
can't
good
help-
at dancing.
Also, I can't help but defend Neville. I can relate to him a bit.
I think we all can.
It's true. On some level, I think so.
Yeah.
I totally get Harry not wanting to dance, especially at that age. I don't care if I'm a champion or not. At 14 years old, you wouldn't be able to get me out on the dance floor. For some reason, it's a big deal at that age. I would also agree with that.
Sure.
How could neither Harry nor Ron think to ask Hermione to go to the ball with them? Stupid 14-year-old boys.
Yes. Exactly.
Yep. How can Harry not be thrilled to get a new pair of socks from Dobby? I love getting socks as a gift.
Me and Joe are
Josh?
best friends. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
I think you'd fit right in. But at the same time, would you love getting socks when you were a 14-year-old boy?
No, they just don't appreciate the finer things in life.
There you go.
Yeah.
Why the heck would the Dursleys even bother to send Harry a single tissue? What's the point? I think they'd rather save the money. Speaking of which, how did they send it to him? Do they have an owl? Does Hogwarts have an address that a mailman could deliver to?
That's a good question.
It is a good question. I've always kind of assumed. I think in the first book, there's like a mention of we got a note that we were supposed to send you a present.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how it happened the first time.
Yeah.
And so I kind of, even if there's not a note every year, I wouldn't be surprised if like Dumbledore or McGonagall or someone sends an owl to their house to collect something from them.
Sure.
And the owl won't leave until they get something.
Maybe Hedwig
So
just shows up and just sits there and it's like, come on, let's do this.
Yeah. I mean, because the presents always just kind of show up there overnight. They
Right.
never mention how they're delivered.
Maybe they have a P.O. box and they just have an owl that regularly checks the P.O. box.
It's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like the Dursleys are deathly afraid of not doing at least the bare minimum.
Yeah. I think since he's gotten something from them every year, like it feels like they're being forced one way or another to give him something.
They just don't want the wrath of the wizarding community coming down on them. And
Yeah.
by giving him a present, regardless of how ridiculous it is, in their head it's like, okay, we're not going to have to deal with anybody.
Yeah.
Until summer.
Yep. So yeah, I don't think it's necessarily that they want to. I think it's someone's forcing their hand a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I love the description of Hermione after Harry realized it was her at as Crumb's date. J.K. made it seem like a coming of age type of moment for her and made her out to be the Cinderella of the ball.
Yep, absolutely.
Very true. Yes. As many years as Dumbledore has been at Hogwarts and seemingly knowing everything that happens.
Yes.
You know where this is going, Josh.
Say it, Joe.
How can there be a room that he doesn't know about? I find that hard to believe.
Exactly.
You and Joe are very much on the same page.
I'm telling you.
And finally, Ron is so spiteful towards Hermione, and I love it. Spiteful Ron is very entertaining.
He is, but it's also super frustrating.
Oh yeah. But it can be both.
Yeah, it's going to start affecting other people, and I don't need another rift in the trio already. Like, we just got them back.
Well, thank you, Joe.
Absolutely.
Got an email from our headmistress, Mel B.
What's up, Mel?
Says, hey, Matt and Josh, another great week. The unexpected task is such a great chapter. The boys are just starting to notice girls and trying to figure out how to ask them out. Too bad for Harry. Cedric already has figured out how to do this and asked Cho first. But note, she is upset to turn Harry down. She would have gone with him if he asked first.
Yeah.
Finally, according to the Muggle notes, Josh is starting to see the delight about Rita Skeeter. Which, yes, seems to be the truth this week.
Yeah.
She has no interest in magical creatures. Does that prove she is evil like people who don't like animals?
She's the worst. She's pawn scum, as far as I'm concerned.
Ron is truly awful to Hermione in these chapters. Perhaps it's subconscious jealousy that she may have someone else to take her to the ball, or is it purely because she is consorting with the enemy? Speaking of the enemy, Victor Crumb, Josh was right. Kudos to Josh.
Yes, fist pump.
And you have people on your side all over the place. She says, I also wasn't fazed by Hagrid being a half giant in my first read through.
See?
It felt obvious, so the reveal was lost on me, and I feel half the audience. I don't know about half the audience, but like, yeah, I agree that, yeah, he's something different, but we didn't know what. It was never mentioned.
Like, I was more taken back by the fact that, like, his mom left him and he was left with his average, normal-sized dad to raise him. Like, I was like, oh, man, he was raised in a broken household and I'm feeling bad for him. And, like, not even thinking that people are, like, losing their minds over the fact that he's a half giant. I'm like, what? This isn't... I'm glad Mel's on my side here. I feel less crazy all of a sudden.
There you go. You weren't alone. So Cedric told Harry to take a bath. Josh, how do you think that will help with the clue?
I knew somebody was going to ask me this. Leave it to Mel. I envision the egg being like a bath bomb, you know? So I don't know how familiar you are with baths, Matt.
Not super familiar, no. I can't say I've taken one in many, many years.
You sit in a nice tub full of nice warm or hot water, and you drop this little bath bomb down into the water, and it fizzes up and it bubbles, and it kind of makes it like a bubble bath for adults.
Okay.
It has different, oils and such in it for skin revitalization and whatever else you might be interested in obtaining from said bath bomb.
There are many varieties.
Yeah, do all kinds of different things for you, I guess. So I'm thinking like this egg, you drop it in the water, and it's going to like poach in a way,
Okay.
And it will open up, and the steam from the hot bath mixed with like the warm water, and it's going to open up and reveal its inner beauty.
Okay.
I have no idea what I'm talking about, but I honestly have no idea how this is going to work.
I appreciate the attempt.
Yeah.
All right. Next email from Rihanna.
Hi, Rihanna.
Says, hi, guys. I love how JK titled Chapter 22 The Unexpected Task. Such a good title, as Harry equated it, actually made it greater than, facing a dragon.
Yeah.
Girls are mean, boys are dumb. I can see why dumb boys would be scared to ask mean girls to the ball.
It's true.
Yeah. Periwinkle blue. Wasn't that one of Lockhart's favorite colors? Was Hermione reminiscing about her first crush while readying for her next crush?
Goodness, I hope not. I hope she's not thinking of Lockhart in any way, shape, or form at this point.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You never know.
No.
He tends to pop up everywhere.
He does. Way more than I'd like.
She continues, I love these two chapters. It just encapsulates middle school / high school age kids so well. Don't think they could have been written any better or any funnier or any more awkward.
That's what
Cedric,
it was. There was a lot of awkwardness.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. It's that awkward situation. Like, if you could just walk away, you would. But no, you just kind of sit there and read it.
Yep.
Yeah. Cedric did not give that great of advice. Harry straight up told Cedric, you got to get past a dragon. And Cedric's idea of advice is take a bath. If I were Harry, I'd be a little annoyed. Really said, a bit more info, please. You literally would have been dragon food without me. So please give clear advice. Thanks.
I mean, I would only be annoyed if I took a bath with it and nothing happens.
Yeah.
And then I'd be knocking on Hufflepuff's door being like, what's up with this, Cedric? Like, let's have a chat here, buddy. At least give it a shot, see what happens. If nothing happens, then you could be annoyed and frustrated. But I mean, he told him about a private bathroom that he could go into and do this without like the pressure of like everybody else. He told him exactly what to do with it and that the answers would be revealed. If it doesn't work, then we have something to chat about. But I mean,
but I think Harry might kind of be in the same position that Cedric was when Harry tried to help him.
Yeah.
Like Cedric was instantly kind of suspicious. It's like, why are you trying to help me? Like, what are you trying to trick me? Trying to give me bad advice? Trying to lead me away from what I'm supposed to know?
Sure.
Like Harry at least has something going for him. It's like, okay, I helped him. Now he just wants to help me.
Mm-hmm.
And you would like to believe that, but at the same time, in the back of your mind, I'm sure he's thinking something like, is this a setup?
Right.
Like nowadays, it'd be like everybody's waiting, hiding in the bathroom stalls, just waiting for Harry to start taking his bath, and then they're going to jump out with their cell phones and start.
True. And I mean, he was just at the dance with, the girl that he's been crushing on, and I could see where Harry would have mixed feelings about all of this. But
who knows? Maybe Rita Skeeter is trying to paid Cedric to.
God, she would do that dirty rat.
Yeah. So, we'll see. We'll see what comes of that.
Mm-hmm.
Then our final email this week comes once again. Has regained his seat. Atari Alex.
Hi, Alex.
Says, Dear Josh and Matt, I'm back. I'm calm. I still haven't forgiven Josh, but it's probably in everyone's best interest if we just move on for now. Before I get into this week's chapters, all I want to say about the first task is that there's another scenario where Google would have benefited Harry greatly. Fair enough. Yes, Google solves a lot of problems, but
yes,
they don't have that.
Oh.
Well, not at Hogwarts, they don't, at least. So, the Yule Ball. I know this is probably an unpopular opinion. Maybe not as unpopular as you think. But I really dislike these chapters.
Yes.
So, we've had a couple of emails that they greatly enjoy these chapters, but Josh, you kind of went into this thing saying, yeah, not so great.
Right. I'd just like to point out, like, a lot of the female writers in this week are, like, pro these chapters, and a lot of us dumb boys are just like, these chapters suck. Where's the dragons? Yeah. Where's the fights?
You do make a good point.
Yeah.
It did kind of play out that way.
Or Neanderthals. That's what it comes down to.
So he says, not because they're poorly written or even that they were boring. They're just unnecessary. The book is already 700 plus pages long, yet we devote an entire 2 chapters to a set of events that ultimately have very little impact on the story. Harry and Ron struggle to get a date. Been there. Don't need to relive it through someone else. The dance itself, yawn. Ron and Hermione's relationship drama, just stop. Sure, there were some important nuggets in there, like the revelation about Hagrid's parentage, or Snape and Karkaroff's secrecy, or Cedric's dubious hint, but none of that had to do with the ball itself, and could have been placed anywhere else in the book. I don't totally mean to dump on these chapters, but there's not a lot here for me to get invested in. 3 more things. First, I don't know how on earth Josh predicted the Hermione Crumb pairing. But that just adds further evidence to my theory that he's getting some sort of outside assistance.
Because she looked at him in a very unique way at the Quidditch World Cup. I'm telling you, I read it. There was a glare. There was a twinkle in an eye. I read between the lines sometimes.
Uh-huh. Second, we finally get the complete resolution to Hermione's dental disaster. Though the line about her braces is peculiar. It was never mentioned in the books that she had them. We certainly don't see Emma Watson wearing them in the movies. And how does she maintain them when she's at school? I seriously doubt that Madame Pomfrey has experience in orthodontics.
I had forgotten all about her teeth at this point.
Yeah.
Like, it was such a small, trivial thing that wasn't constantly a reminder of. So, like, when this happened, I was like, oh, yeah, that was still a thing, I guess. All right.
Well, I think that kind of made this point about Hermione's transformation that much bigger.
Right.
Is like she's kind of been planning for this all year now.
Yeah.
It's like she has purposely been trying to improve her appearance.
Mm-hmm. JK was planting the seeds way back when, because there could have been a million different spells and curses that could have been placed upon Hermione that one fateful day in the hallway.
Yeah, but yeah, the tooth elongating curse, charm, whatever. Yeah, It's like, of course it hit Hermione. Yeah,
JK playing the long game. That's all it is.
But yeah, I did catch that line about her braces too. Like, that seemed like an odd line. Because I guess there are different types of braces that, but still, you typically think, you get braces on and you have them on for probably a couple of years,
right?
And then you get them taken off. So it seems weird that, like I said, they were never mentioned, but she mentioned them in this case. So not sure what was going on there, but. Lastly, the Weird Sisters. For those who are wondering, they're not women. It's very true. Yeah, the Weird Sisters is just a band name.
Okay.
The members of the band are all male. The first thing that always pops into my mind is something like Twisted Sister.
Okay.
Because they're all guys in that band too.
Sure.
But if you want to get back into it, do you know? Have you heard the Weird Sisters anywhere before?
Other than this, no.
Okay, so it actually does stem from something which seems very like a very JK thing to do. The term Weird Sisters was a name given to the three prophetic witches in the play Macbeth, Shakespeare. Weird being Old English for fate or destiny.
Huh.
In the Harry Potter series, JK has stated that Macbeth is quite possibly her favorite Shakespearean play. Interestingly, the Spanish edition of the books refer to the band by the name Las Brujas de Macbeth, or Macbeth's Witches. So it is also interesting to point out a second allusion to Macbeth made in Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, the film version, when they have the frog choir and the song they sing, Double, Double, Toil and Trouble.
Yes.
Which is also a quote from Macbeth. So it's very likely that's kind of where JK took the name from.
Yeah, that sounds something it should do.
Yeah.
Huh.
So.
But weren't they described as being covered in hair?
Were they?
I think so.
It's possible.
Yeah, when they were mentioned about coming off stage or something, I'm pretty sure they were described as like covered in hair or fur or something. So in my head, they were like Cousin It from the Addams Family. Like, that's what I was picturing. I'm like, okay, that makes sense, I guess, in this crazy world.
Yeah, I could see that.
Again, I might have been just making that up in my own head, Matt. At this point, I don't even know.
Yep. Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah.
We'll figure it out, or someone will point it out for us.
Yep.
In any case, Alex did follow up with a second email briefly, just a one-liner. Sorry for the double email, but I forgot to mention something else. Squidly is a great name, but I was slightly offended when Josh demeaned my suggestion last week. Do you remember what his was?
I've already just blocked it out of my head. I remember saying something snarky about it.
Well, so his full suggestion was Squiddy McSquidface,
Oh, right.
but he wanted to point out that Squiddy and Squidly are literally only different by one letter.
It was the mixed squid face that really just, was a little bit over the top.
Okay.
Squiddy I would be completely fine with. It's the extension of the name that just a stretch too far there, Alex.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
But that's all we have for this week.
Thank you, everybody, for writing in fantastic emails. It's always fun. It's fun hearing from the normal emailers, the regulars. It's fun hearing from brand new listeners, especially like if you haven't caught up to where we're at. Like that's super fun. People yelling at me about Ravenclaw still. Oh, there's so much more to come.
Oh yeah,
you guys are in for a treat. Yeah, no, thank you to everybody for the emails every week. They're a lot of fun. Finishing up the show, Matt, we gotta announce a new giveaway.
we do.
This is just a common thing that we do here. We're going to give away something new and fresh this week. You have the item picked out, so I'm going to let you tell the people what we're giving away.
All right. This week, we are giving away a wand. A very specific wand, in fact.
What wand?
This wand would belong to the one and only Professor Alistair Moody. Mad Eye, if you will.
Good old Mad Eye. Does he have a cool wand?
It depends on your definition of cool.
Sure.
It's definitely very unique.
Okay.
It is definitely. I think it definitely fits his character.
Okay.
Let me see. Have you looked it up at all?
No.
So
that sounds like a dangerous idea, Matt.
I understand. It's
I don't look up any wands anymore.
Carefully search for it if you wanted to,
Yeah.
but let me see if I can find a decent picture of it here. I can send you.
Some people have really boring wands. They're just blah. From the ones I remember seeing at the Wizarding World of Harry Potter.
Yeah, there are definitely some that are just kind of bland. They look very plain. It's just a wand, and that's part of the reason I was attracted. The first wand I picked up was Sirius Black Swan that has all the carvings in it.
Yep.
And it really jumped out at me. It's like, hey, this is cool. I like this one.
You know who I bet has the most boring wand of all?
Who's that?
Percy. You know it's true.
All right. You should have a picture of Moody's wand now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's definitely a Moody wand.
Yeah. So it's like very like gnarled and kind of
is that like
chopped up
silver
like
bands around it?
Something like that.
Yeah, I like that. That's cool. Looks like he whittled it himself.
With Moody, you never know. Never accept anything from another wizard.
Exactly. Can't trust anything.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, that would be a fun gift to give to somebody. Here's what we're going to do. Because I like Matt getting all kinds of fun emails throughout the week. We're going to do another email giveaway.
All right.
Okay. Hagrid the Half Giant, which everybody knew. He has a very unique wand. He has a pink umbrella. His broken wand is kind of shoved inside of it. kind of concealing the fact that it's a wand because he's not supposed to have a wand. So he has this pink umbrella that he does wizarding things with. Definitely unique in the realm of all the other characters that we've met, right?
Sure.
So what I want is I want people to send you pictures, or if they can't take a picture for whatever reason, a description if they just want to type it all out, of what kind of unique wand they would have if they couldn't carry a normal wizarding wand like Hagrid's not allowed to.
So kind of with the idea, like if you had to conceal it somehow.
Conceal it or use something else in lieu of a wand.
Okay.
Like, I'm going to use this this tree branch as my wand, or whatever. Be creative with it.
Yeah.
What would you guys use if you couldn't use, or your normal wizarding wand was broke, or whatever the circumstance is?
So would it be fair to say we'll accept, like you said, pictures, descriptions, drawings?
Yes, absolutely.
However you want to convey to us what your wand would look like.
Yep. And you don't have to be like in the picture, like holding it or anything like that. If however you want to go about doing it. But just send all those in to Matt at talesfromgodric's.hollow@gmail.com. Send that separately than your normal emails, of course. But any way you want to describe or show off how you would conceal or replace a wand in a creative way, like Hagrid and his pink umbrella, we'll go with that.
There you go.
So that should be fun. I want to see what the people would come up with here. So, of course, send those in before next week, and we'll sort them all out, and we'll pick a winner on next week's show. Simple as that. Next week, Matt, we will be reading chapters 24 and 25 of Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Are you ready?
Yeah.
That was an unsure response there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm ready. Don't worry.
You're worrying me now, Matt. Usually you're excited. Now you're just like, we'll see.
Oh, one last shout out before we sign off here.
Yes.
I did have some contact with our winner from last week.
Yes.
We were having some trouble with her name.
Oh, right.
You remember this one?
Yes.
Yeah. So she did listen to the podcast.
Okay.
And wrote back, says, Josh was so close to pronouncing my name. It's pronounced Indacia. Indacia.
I was pretty close.
Yeah.
I didn't completely butcher it.
Yeah. Much better than I would have done, so.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Indacia, for
Yes.
enlightening us. We'll try to only butcher a name once before being corrected. It's not always the case, but we try.
Yeah.
We try.
Feel free to write it in again. We'll get it right.
Definitely. Well, Matt, that's been a show. I am definitely looking forward to next week as always. You could find me personally on Twitter at The Noise. That's with a Y. Please be sure to follow the show on Twitter at Tales from GH. Also, as of today, we now have an official Instagram account.
It's true.
Why we haven't done this before, beyond me. As many pictures as we've posted on the Twitter account, it's silly not to have it. So, I started an Instagram account for us. You can find us at Tales from Godric's Hollow over there. Be prepared for lots of pictures of Squidly doing various Harry Potter things.
I like it.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
We like Squidly.
And there's a lot of people that don't like Twitter, but are big fans of Instagram. So we're trying to add more ways to stay connected to this ever-growing community, and this seems like a fun way to do that. So Instagram, Tales from Godric's Hollow. You can find us over there. And If you would like to support us in what we're doing here as far as building this community, doing these awesome giveaways, all the different various stuff that we offer, bonus content, blood-inducing owl posts, you could do so over at Patreon, patreon.com/Tales from Godric's Hollow. I will burn and melt my fingers off in order to send you cool stuff. That's my promise. Pretty solid,
Wonderful.
right?
Wonderful.
Matt, where can people find you at?
You can always find me personally on Twitter at @AsAMatterOfMatt. And if you'd like to enter our giveaway this week, you know the email address, talesfromgodricshollow@gmail.com. That also works for any email you want to send for me to read on the show, any email you want to send just to talk about something behind Josh's back, whatever the case may be. It's all talesfromgodricshollow@gmail.com.
Definitely. And yeah, I mean, half the emails Matt gets, he doesn't read because I'm not allowed to know him yet. So feel free and have confidence in knowing that Matt keeps all that to himself. There's a whole giant network of things going on behind the scenes that I am not aware of. One day I'll get to see all those archived emails.
One day.
Hopefully. This has been fun. Again, we'll see you guys next week for episode 44. We are very happy that you guys are still along on this journey. As always, we're hoping to make it as fun and entertaining as possible with all the new things that we're coming up with. There are more new things to come in the near future, so stay tuned for that. Until next time, Muggle out.
Mischief managed.